I was muted and we're live. All right. Yeah, nobody is here just yet. Hopefully, Kenny Sparks will show up. Hmm. Where is this? There we go. Like to say, that is live TV. Oh, here we go. Hold on. You know what? You should never change your setup before doing a live stream.
That is accurate.
I've been doing a whole bunch of work on my setup, and it is not conducive to doing live streams. It's very but it's not conducive to doing live streams. And I thought about that after I was done.
Yeah.
So
Nah, yeah, you never want to do stuff last minute.
no, I did this all like 2 days ago. But then I was like, oh man, the live stream.
Got
And
you.
here we are.
Yeah,
It
man.
works on somebody else's live stream. It doesn't work on my own live stream because I have to do a lot of StreamYard stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it's
Nah,
all a
yeah.
work in
I definitely
progress.
hear that. Oh yeah, always.
Well, how's your weekend going?
Weekend's going
Uh,
good, man. Yeah, I'm sorry, I was looking at something. Weekend's going good, man. I am in supreme chill mode. I ain't got nothing going on this weekend, which means I can just relax. I've been watching like Clash at the Castle, from the WWE and stuff like that all day today. So yeah, man, I'm just excited to be here. I'm closing out a bunch of tabs so that my my computer doesn't freeze while we're doing this. But yeah, man, I'm excited to talk about this halfway through the year, ready to go, man.
Man, so I don't know why I've done this, but my last live stream was on a WWE pay-per-view day too, and it was like it was during
Yep.
that whatever the Saudi one was, and I was like, man, it's not on purpose because I
Yeah,
actually
that's all
want
good.
to watch
Yeah.
W and I was like, man, but once I make a date, I don't want to
Mhm.
change it. That's the bad thing is I don't want to change it. So yeah. I mean, good thing I get to watch it on Peacock a little bit later.
Yeah. I got to pause and I'll watch it on Peacock.
For sure, for sure. But yeah, let me just jump. A few people have jumped into the chat.
Yo,
And
Ace, what's good, bro?
the Ace, before I even get to more chats, like the Ace Avenue has been such a good
A blessing.
content creator. He's such a
Yeah.
great, like, I don't want to say help, uh, like
No, that for
helper,
sure.
but
Yeah,
like
for sure.
he just like the other day I was in the Yankees chat and it was
Hmm.
your birthday. And he was, or it was after your birthday, but he was like,
Oh,
"Hey man, let's do a raid of Kenny's
yo,
birthday." And I was like, "That's so dope!" Because then I went to your channel and there was a bunch of people came in, shouted you out, and I was like, "Yo, you don't
bro.
have to do that, right? He don't have to do that, but he does because he's a great content creator and he
Mhm.
likes seeing other people being great content creators and he always shows support and love
Yeah, man. Yo, like I was fighting back tears. I was like, yo, all these people came on here to say happy birthday. Like that was one of the coolest. That has got to be top three coolest moments I've ever had being a YouTuber, man. And I definitely got to shout out Ace and say thank you for that, yo. That was unbelievable. That was unbelievable. So yeah, yeah. Thank you, Ace, for that. That was crazy.
for
But
sure.
yeah, he's been a blessing, man. Ever since you guys uh, hooked me up with him, man. I'm yeah, could not be more grateful to know the dude.
For real. And I don't know how he has so much energy because he calls Yankees games, he does movie
Right?
reviews, like he has a job like that. Like
Hmm.
he just has that energy, and I appreciate him for that.
Yeah,
For sure. For sure.
uh,
Always want to give
that's
him
the
a shout out whenever I get a chance to.
I
The
was
80s kid from the 90s. Hey, 80s kids. Thank you so much for joining the live stream. I appreciate you so much for being here. And then Kenny T, how we doing? I'm doing good. I'm
doing
good.
good, man. Doing great.
The hardest
Cannot
part is
complain.
getting these things started.
Yeah.
And I am 24P said, "What's up?" He's in the house. Let's start some. You know what? I
What's up, Brandon?
I think by the end of this, I might get canceled because I got a few hot takes about
Cancel?
these movies.
Cancel?
Like,
Like fully cancel?
well, I mean, I only got about 2 subscribers, so it's not hard it's not hard to cancel me. But
I was
man, I
looking at
got
some of the questions that you. I was like, I really had to think about. It. I was like, what am I surprised by this year?
you know, I'm a last minute type of dude, so I didn't
Hmm.
really do too much research for this, but I
Yeah.
did have a letterbox. Luckily, I did letterbox this year, and it helps me a lot with these lists. And
Hmm.
I do got a few surprises, man. So we're definitely gonna
I
talk
have a
about that.
few. Yep.
But let's go ahead and just get into the mid year so far. And mid is kind of a double entendre because a lot of people are saying this has been a very mid year for movies.
It kind of has
Um,
been.
and talk some more about that. Like, why do you think this has been a very, I won't say down because some movies have made money, but this has been
Mhm.
kind of a middle of the pack year for movies. Like, why do you think that is?
To tell you the truth, I think one of the bigger reasons why it's been a down year is because the first 3 months of the year, January until I want to say March. I think Dune Part Two came out on March 1st. Before that, it was a struggle. It was really difficult to like. I almost quit YouTube. I was like, I'm not passionate about this anymore. Like, because every movie review I was doing, I was like, it's okay, it's good, it's all right, and it was just like I'm not excited about anything, right? So, I think a big part of it is you got to give it up to you got to put part of it on the lack of superhero content, the lack of big name superhero content. It's just not hasn't been in the theater, still won't be until July, and thankfully, like just in recent weeks, Bad Boys and Inside Out 2 back to back. I think it's the first time this year that we've had back to back successes, right? Inside Out 2 is in theaters right now. So is Bad Boys in theaters right now. And I know that thing is scheduled to do like 142 million in opening weekend. I think that's just domestic. And so that's gonna blow what we thought was great about Bad Boys 4 out of the water. So I think a lot of it has to do with just not people just not wanting to go to the theater. There's nothing like there are good movies in the theater, but there's nothing the general audience wants to go see. And honestly, I think a lot of people are trying to figure out, oh, why, like why of this. I think it really comes down to if people don't want to see it, people ain't going to go see it, regardless of what we think about it, right? So I think the lack of superhero content, I think the lack of um, even like big sequels, other than I guess you could say, uh, geez, what is the name of that movie? Furiosa is a big sequel. A big in terms of cinephiles, because I don't think it's big outside of people who actually care about Mad Max, right? And compared to last year, which was Creed 3 and John Wick 4 and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, like all of these came out within the first 6 months. All these came out like before June even started, right? So you had all of those types of movies to come out. You even had like Extraction 2, which I know wasn't in theaters. I'm just shouting that out because I really like that movie. But all those kinds of movies came out, and June 1st started with Across the Spider Verse. So you had and they were spread out too, right? So you had
Yeah.
all these movies that were really good and really strong at the beginning of the year. And I was saying the beginning of this year just isn't as strong And I think part of it is the writer's strike. You push all that stuff back, right? So I'm pretty sure because the writer's strike started what in I want to say mid July and went
Of last year, yeah.
into October, no November, and went into November, right? I think it stopped right before December. So you had
Yes.
damn near 6 months of work, five at the least, that just was not completed. Acting, directing, editing, all that stuff. So now all that stuff won't be pushed out for until like the end of the year into next year. So I think that's a big reason for it.
So I completely agree with everything you just said. What I would counteract with that is there have been some good like, and I think it's because I'm in the movie tube space
Mm-hmm.
where I've gone and watched a lot of Love Lies Bleeding kind of
Love that
sticks out
movie.
to me as
Yeah.
I was doing as I was looking at the big surprises, and
Mm-hmm.
we're going to talk about surprises and disappointments. That was a really good movie. Now, granted, that movie is not for everybody. Like
Right.
the subject matter, like the lead characters themselves, kind of takes you out of. And I'm just going to ballpark this figure. Probably about 30 to 40% of all moviegoers are not going to go see that movie
Mm-hmm.
because of the
Lesbians. Yeah.
LBGTQ,
Mm-hmm.
inferences in the movie. And of course, it's about two women, like
Mm-hmm.
whether they're lesbians or bisexual. That's irrelevant to me.
Yeah.
Me, a person who is very, I grew up in New York City.
I
Like you
don't
see a
care
little
about
bit
none
of
of
that.
that.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
I don't like a good movie
Mm-hmm.
is a good movie, whether gay, straight, queer,
Yeah.
uh, whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that, right? But that movie kind of alienates half the, and to a good extent, Deadpool does does the exact same thing to me.
Yeah, but
Like,
people pick and choose, man. They pick
yeah,
and
you're right.
choose. Yep.
You're 100% correct. But like, there are some good movies. I was looking through my letterbox, and I'm at 64 movies right now, and I would say
What?
half of them are really good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, I got some documentaries in here. I got a
Okay.
few movies from 2023.
Yeah.
Um, but like if I watch it and it's on and I could pull it up on Letterbox, I was really upset that I couldn't pull up the Butterflies in the Sky, the Reading Rainbow documentary, which is
I really want to see that.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's so good. Like if you grew up watching Reading Rainbow, if you're a fan of LeVar Burton, he comes off as more of one of the greatest human beings who's ever lived. Like this guy, he's such a wonderful human.
Yep.
And he doesn't get celebrated enough. But on Have You Seen That with T on this YouTube channel, I'm gonna celebrate LeVar Burton every chance I
Mm-hmm.
get. Um, but yeah, like I feel like we've had some strong movies, and we're gonna talk about this. We'll
Mm-hmm.
talk about what we liked and what we disliked, and a few disappointments. To me, weren't real disappointments as movies; they were just disappointments at the box office, right?
Yeah.
Like there were a few bombs that I just did not see. I honestly didn't see Furiosa bombing the way it did.
I didn't see that either.
Like
Yeah.
I know that Mad Max isn't the biggest franchise, but
Mm-hmm.
man, like it
Yeah.
was like people kind of just made it seem like it was a nothing franchise when it really
Mm-hmm.
wasn't. But yeah, we'll definitely get into that a little bit later. Just jump in the chat. Try my hardest to get through this chat, and it's not that many, but still, I don't want anybody to feel as if their words mean nothing because every word means something to me. But 80s kid from the 90s, I like to talk about my favorite stuff, such as movies, toys, and anything random on my channel. Making videos each week on a schedule is just too much. Man, who are
It's
you telling?
difficult. Yeah. I have my Inside Out review recorded right now, and like I want to say, 10% of it is edited. Like I need to get that thing out before it's irrelevant. You know what I mean? Which doesn't seem like that'll be the case because of how many people are going to go see it. But still, once like all the big channels are going to get those views before I do.
For sure. It is I didn't realize when I first started doing YouTube, I would just turn the camera on and I would just speak because
Mm-hmm.
that's how I did my podcast. I would just turn the mic on and I would just talk. And the ums and the I noticed that in the editing processes, I say, a billion times during my video, and it's like it's almost a nervous
Mhm.
tick where I would say and things like that. Now, conversationally, I realize that I don't do that as much, but when I'm talking about something, if I don't have a script in front of me, it's a challenge to not say it's a
Yeah.
challenge to not say all of those quirks that you learn like whenever you especially if you take a speech class, which I did, and I did really well. But
Nice.
when I'm doing videos, it's not a speech class. It's you
Mhm.
just talking about thoughts. It's opinionated, thoughts in your head.
Yeah.
Um, but man, the editing process, it is a beast.
It's
I
grueling. Yeah.
it is. It takes more to edit than it does everything else. Like, I take more time editing than watching the movie, recording the video. Like, it can take I've gotten better at it
Yeah.
because it's a work in progress, but it still takes quite a bit of time. So you have to time management is key when it comes to stuff like that. So I
Yeah.
definitely feel your struggle, 80s kid. Let's see what else we got. I'm excited for Tuesday to see Inside Out 2. I think
Have fun with that,
honestly,
man.
I
I
think
had
I might go
such a
see
great
that tomorrow, man.
time. Pardon me. I had such a great time with that. Yo, that movie. I can't wait for you to see it. T. It's phenomenal. Like me, Zach, and Kiara watched it together in a Discord channel a couple nights ago, and we like the first one, and we
Mm.
absolutely loved it. And it was the first time I had seen it. Apparently, well, it wasn't the first time I saw it. It's the first time I actually saw the whole thing because there's been this trend where I've been falling asleep in movies, and then I'm realizing that trend goes back a couple years. Because I actually saw the first Inside Out in theaters. I went to sleep or I fell asleep during the movie in the theater, and then I woke up and all the kids around me were crying. I was like, "Why is everybody crying?" It's because Bing Bong
Bing
had his
bong.
Bing
Oh
Bong,
my
and I was like, and I never knew. And then we watched it Wednesday night, and I was tearing up. I was like, "No, like he didn't have to go, Joy, you jerk!" Blah, 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 blah. I was like, it was rough, man. But then I went to go see Inside Out too, and when like the level of crying like doubled. Like I was like,
wow.
oh my god, and I just want her to do well. Like I just want Riley to do well. You know what I'm saying? Like in life.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for you to see it. I'm excited for others to see it. It's amazing how easily it seems that Pixar makes you care about these animated characters. Like I'm invested in this animated little girl's life. You know what I mean? So it's fantastic. Can't wait for you to see it, man.
So me and my wife watched Inside Out 1. This is the year it came out, whenever it first came out on
2015
streaming. I think it came out, it
on
was on
streaming.
Stars, I think it
Okay.
was. And boy, when Bing Bong, oh my God. See,
Yeah.
I'm the most overly emotional movie reviewer. So
Mm-hmm.
when Bing Bong went, oh my God. My wife, she had literally no feelings. I look over, I'm like, I'm trying to hide. Like, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
man, I'm just like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to hide my face. I look over and she was like stone face. I was like, man, do you have a soul? Like, what is happening? Like Bing Bong, like that
As it
was
was happening, and you could tell that it was coming. I was talking to him. I was like, "Yo, I think it's about to get me. I think I'm about to cry." And then I
man.
definitely did.
That like I could see that traumatizing kids like
Mm-hmm.
because it was like you become so emotionally invested in this wonderful character. And like you said, Pixar just they figured it out, man.
Yep.
They know how to get you and I thought I was the only one because I never heard it. Like Inside Out is not something grown men talk about. Like we talk
Yeah.
about the Fall Guy, we talk about Bad
Mm-hmm.
Boys, but we don't talk about watching Inside Out. Like we
Yeah.
don't talk
Yeah.
about how Bing Bong truly. And I was adult. I was in my 30s
Mm-hmm.
when I saw that. So I could only imagine a 10-year-old
I
or
was
a
25.
12-year-old
Yeah.
seeing
Yeah.
this. Like man,
Yeah.
good.
Like I think the crazy part is that Pixar has found a way to trick us. Those movies, and this is actually a part of my review, but those
Mhm.
movies aren't for kids at
No,
all. They're
Mhm.
literally for adults, but they're sold to children because
Yes.
we're the ones who come out of those movies like crying. Like I know the kids cry sometimes, but we are the one. Like the first 10 minutes. I don't know if you've seen Up, but
Of
like
course.
the first 10 minutes of Up, like them kids don't know what's going on, but I know. Oh my God, she can't have children. They've lived this long life together. She caught the cancer and died on a Tuesday. Like all this stuff is
Yes.
happening, and I'm like, yo, what's going on in this children's movie? And then we move on to the like the little dogs, the talking dogs, and the floating house
Yes.
and stuff like that. But even still with that, like all of it is like, hey, maybe you should go pursue life even though you've lost some things. Yo, Pixar, shut up and stay out of my life.
Yeah, Inside Out, I like
Mhm,
my kids don't like they haven't finished it. They get bored
mhm.
really quickly, even though it's a very colorful, like you would think
Yeah.
because of just the colors and the animation style itself, it would kind of pull them in. But
Mhm.
it's not like it is exciting because of course it's over the top and Amy
Yeah.
Poehler is fantastic.
Yeah.
But
That cast.
it just it is you're right. It is for adults, right? It's such a nostalgic movie for me because it just brings back the kid at heart, right? Like to
Mhm.
imagine, like Bing Bong, your imaginary friend. Yes, at some point he has to go. They just animated in such a great way that you knew, that you just knew it. And somebody just mentioned Toy Story 3. Like Toy Story 3,
Mhm.
adults, like there's not, maybe my wife,
Mhm.
there's not too many adults who haven't cried watching Toy Story 3. Like that gets you at the end.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
man, I used to be that kid and I
Yep.
had to get rid of those G.I. Joes. Like it's
Yeah.
so serious. It's a lot more for us because it's
Mhm.
us writing it, right? You have adults writing this thing, guys my age, guys maybe even older than me, who
Mhm.
grew up playing with those toys, Mr. Potato Heads and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely for adults, but it's spun in such a clever way to where kids will watch it as they're kids, and then they grow up and they become,
Yeah.
adults who understand it.
Right.
Understand it more as they become adults. I think.
Mhm. Yeah. 100%, man. Pixar is amazing. And there was a couple of years where people were like, Pixar's on a downturn, and I guess they're back now because Elemental was also great. Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah. Let me close this door real quick. Sorry.
people think when
Yeah.
people say downturn, they're like because they're not the minions making $1 billion each movie, which is insane to me.
Hmm.
But like they think that that's a downturn because the movie made $500 million. I mean, I guess for those standards, it is a downturn
Yeah.
because they're not making 700, 800, $900 million like a lot of their other movies made, but
Hmm.
it's still very profitable. I mean, like
Yeah.
it cracks me up when they say that.
Yeah. It's
Robert,
weird. Like,
go ahead.
I think the success of Marvel in a short period of time, especially in Phase 3 specifically, like Black Panther hit 1 billion. I'm pretty sure Thor: Love and Thunder hit close to that, and Captain Marvel hit 1 billion, and then Infinity War hit 1 billion. Like all of those success in quick succession, all hit
Yeah.
$1 billion. And then there are some movies that came out during that year too that were not part of Marvel that also hit 1 billion, and it just seemed like that was the norm. And then people started judging movies by whether or not they hit $1 billion, and that's just not how you judge whether or not a movie is successful or not. Like success
Yeah.
is you've surpassed what you spent on the movie, and hopefully you also surpass what you spent for marketing on the movie. Just because it doesn't hit $1 billion does not mean that it's not a success. Like for example, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness did not hit $1 billion, but I'm pretty sure it landed somewhere between 7 and 900 million. If
Yes.
you think that's not a success for Disney, you are fooling yourself. So yeah, and there's a few movies like that I don't. I think the only movie that wasn't a financial success from Marvel Studios, like in like the Phase 4 or whatever, was I want to say was the Marvels really, because
Yeah.
everything else was pandemic ridden or it was in the upper hundreds of millions of dollars, right? So
Yeah.
yeah,
I think the Marvels is probably the only one that didn't turn a profit
Mm-hmm.
because of the budget.
Yeah.
Like, because when you think of, so take for instance this year, The Strangers Chapter One, which is a terrible movie, by the way.
Y'all
Um,
keep telling me I got to see it eventually.
that movie was made for $8.5 million. They made about $28 million. So
That is a success.
I mean, that's success. Like it
Uh-huh.
doesn't need to make $100 million to be successful. Some of these indie films, which Thelma is an indie film coming out next week. Definitely, I'm gonna get Thelma to boy.
Thelma.
I'm gonna talk
Oh wait,
about Thelma.
is that the one with the older woman who's on her little scooter on adventures?
Yes,
I'm excited for that.
exactly. Right.
I'm excited for that.
It's word of mouth, right? This movie is gonna be clever. Now, granted, there are gonna be a lot of people who don't go see this in the theater.
Hmm.
This is definitely a streaming movie that's gonna be number one on whatever platform it hits because
Yeah.
people are gonna talk about it and it's gonna get its word of mouth. But I don't know what the budget is for it, but anything over, I want to say about 10 to 15 to 20 million dollars is
Hmm.
going to be successful for that movie because it doesn't it's not CGI heavy. It's not, it's not too many stunts in it. It's like these stunts, but they're small stunts because the lady's 93. And that's kind of the running joke of the whole movie. Like,
Right.
so it's not gonna like we're not, have stunt work. It's not John Wick 4,
Hmm.
so I mean, just the I think people's idea, and that's kind of why I actually wanted to talk about this year in general, was because people's idea of success is Marvel's success, right? Like
Right.
the DC, I mean, and Aquaman made $1 billion, but like the Flash was never going to make $1 billion. Like it had too many things going against it.
Yeah.
The Marvel was never going to make $1 billion because it really had a lot of things going against it.
Yep.
Captain Marvel, I think, was an anomaly, but other than that, like I think we have to temper our
Expectations.
expectations
Yeah.
on what success is.
Yep.
And of
I
course, like the movie
totally agree.
makers, they want money, so they can't temper it. They want to make a billion. Like they want all of their movies. Somebody at Sony thought Madam Web was going to make $1 billion. Like somebody at Sony
Somebody
sold
thought
that was
that.
like,
Yeah.
think we can do it.
Yeah.
But
Yo,
if we
so
make, go
I'm
ahead.
looking at 2018 and I was just looking at like what movies made $1 billion in 2018. Avengers Infinity War, Black Panther, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom. I think that's the second one.
Yeah.
Incredibles 2, Aquaman, and Bohemian Rhapsody made $900 million.
Wow.
Venom made, I thought Venom made $1 billion. But
Which
yeah,
one? Which one are we
the
talking
first
about?
one.
That one made close to 900. I don't think
Yeah,
it.
that
I
made
mean,
856 million. Mission Impossible made 791. Deadpool 2 only made $734 million. And that was considered a success. And all of these movies are successes financially, at least, right? And then
mm,
even if you move to like 2019, and this is all like right before the pandemic, you got Avengers Endgame, The Lion King, Frozen 2, Spider-Man Far From Home, Captain Marvel, Joker, Rise of Skywalker. This is the same year, by the way. Toy Story
mm.
4, Aladdin, all made $1 billion. That's 8 movies. That's not normal.
That is not normal.
I can't stress. And Jumanji, the next level, made 800 million. So, and that was the next one after Toy Story 4.
But
So,
those are all big
yeah,
properties, though. Like every movie you name there is a known entity,
yep.
right? So there weren't too many
Maybe except for
sequels this year.
Joker. Maybe Joker's not a known entity. I mean, but we know who the Joker is, but it's a new franchise, so to speak. But still,
Now the Joker's is I would go on record to say like the Joker is probably uh the best villain. Like you got Magneto,
yeah.
who but the Joker would be, you got Lex Luthor, the
Mm-hmm.
Joker, and you got Magneto. Those to me are like the big three as villains. Like all of the
Yep.
other ones, they're great, but like they're
Mhm.
not in the cultural zeitgeist of,
Right.
but like the Joker, thinking of the Joker having a movie, especially coming off of Heath Ledger's performance.
Yeah.
And then of course Jared Leto's performance, you're like, it has to be better than that, like
Has to be. Yep.
it
Yep.
gotta be better than that. So let's see what this is. And I have my thoughts of the Joker movie. I,
Yeah.
I can honestly say I wasn't the biggest fan,
Hmm. Yeah.
but
So
most of
between
it
those
had to do
two
with
years,
say what?
I said between those 2 years, like 14, 15 movies hit $1 billion. I
We
cannot
might get
stress
one
how
this year.
not normal that is. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
so yeah.
that's crazy. But
Hmm.
that was a time. Like I would say, a lot of those movies fed off each other. Like Barbenheimer, like those two
Yeah.
movies fed off each other instead of eating each other like most movies does.
Hmm.
Because of the clever marketing, whoever came up with that Barbieheimer thing, get that guy raised. But
Yeah. It wasn't
like
even them. It was the fans. The fans.
it was the fans, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Hire us.
yeah,
Hire
yeah,
the fans of movies.
yeah. Well, they do to an extent.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, like 14, we might get one. I think
Right.
Deadpool and Wolverine might be the one this year,
I think
and that's
Inside Out
okay.
has a good chance.
Well, yeah, you're right. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
Because I'm definitely gonna go take the whole family to see that, and we're gonna have a
Mhm.
good time.
Starting out at 140 million in the first weekend domestically by yourself. It's crazy.
Because I think No Way Home made like 200 and something like its first weekend. It was insane. Like it was
Yeah.
insane
Yeah.
numbers. Like and of course Infinity War and Endgame, those both I think those are in like 300. Like they made so much money those first few weeks because
Mhm.
everybody those are events. Like those were event movies, especially Endgame. Like Endgame was the event of all events. It was the culmination.
Mhm. And No Way Home was the only movie to hit $1 billion that year.
As it should have. But that was the COVID year. That wasn't that the tail end of
That was
wasn't
2021. That was a
yeah,
year after COVID. That's
yeah,
when people really started going back to the theater.
yeah, that uh, people the cliche term that saved the theater. I don't know about that. But it sure didn't hurt it. Like
It got people out of the house.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get to a few more of these comments. Right. So Dark Movies. Thank you so much for being here, Dark. I appreciate
Hey,
you.
what's up,
Uh,
Dark?
it's super difficult. I agree. A lot of personal things coming up and stuff like that. And yeah, editing, holy that
Hmm.
word. I spend usually around 15 hours to 2 days to edit it. Wow.
Yeah.
I would give up after if it don't happen in about 3 to 4 hours, it's going to one is probably gonna wait to the next day.
Yep. I've
Two,
decided to start reducing some of the stuff that I'm doing.
yeah, like
Yeah.
but I mean, once again, when you put that effort in, the proof comes in the pudding because you guys
Yeah.
put a lot of time and effort into it. And I'm a smaller YouTuber. I do it when I can,
Hmm.
and a lot of times I can't. Like that's the hard part about it. That's the hard part, especially about starting out, because you
Yeah.
want to start out and be big and grand, but it never
Hmm.
works that way.
Nah, it never
Gotta
works.
put in you gotta put in time and boy, if you put in 15 hours a day, bless you,
Yeah.
because you deserve all the success that you're definitely putting in the work to get.
1,000%.
I love that movie. Just got back from it, so you just came from seeing Inside Out 2. I did see that in the Discord.
Hmm.
The first one is one of the best animated movies of all time.
I gotta
I
agree.
mean, yeah, I can't debate that. I've seen some good ones, but that one was just really well made, and the animation was, I mean, it just the animation was just top class. And saying that about Pixar is
Right.
like saying, is water wet? Like Pixar doesn't skimp on the visuals. RIP Bing Bong.
RP Bing Bong.
Man, boy, I knew you well, Bing Bong. You were definitely the homie. It's almost
Yeah.
like it almost felt like Ricky getting shot at Boys in the Hood.
Oh
Like
my.
that's like I'm telling you, it was
Yeah.
traumatic, man.
Uh-huh.
It
It
was
was.
traumatic. 80s kid from 90 say he was there for the first 30 minutes. He's talking about the Discord
Mhm.
stream you guys had.
Yeah.
Discord. I never got sad when watching Inside Out 2. I guess I'm heartless. You know what, Dark Movies, you are the Norwegian Batman, so
Hmm.
that wouldn't surprise me. Let's see,
Yeah.
Bing
Bing Bong.
Bong. I'm telling you, like it's funny because I've never had this conversation with anybody else about Inside Out. other than with my wife, and it's refreshing to know that other people felt the exact same way I felt when Bing Bong died in Inside Out. I grew up with Inside Out, and seeing it again is really nostalgic. Now you say nostalgic like this thing came out 30 years ago, but I'm gonna let you slide because
Mhm.
you are still young. And now two is definitely a worthy sequel to that movie.
For sure.
You know what?
I like it
Everybody,
more than the first one.
oh, I believe that. You
Mhm.
would hope.
Yeah.
You would hope that they do a little bit better
Mhm.
on the second one, but that doesn't always happen. See, that scene destroyed me. I
Yep.
think it destroyed a lot of grown adults.
Mhm.
Grown men need to talk about Bing Bong. You're right, man.
Accurate. Yep.
Grown men need to talk about mental health. Okay, I don't know what happened. I just lost my screen. Oh, hold on. Am I still here?
We can hear you. We can't see you.
Okay. One moment.
Mhm.
What just happened? Not unplugged my camera.
There
What's
you go.
going
Oh,
on?
that's a
Nope, that's
side
the
view.
wrong camera. Yeah. You know what? What can go wrong most certainly will go wrong. Because why not?
We'll be back. Not back. We're not leaving y'all, but it's going to work out. We're going to get this fixed, and we're going to keep rolling.
For sure. What is going on with this camera?
Mm.
I don't want to do that other view. Crazy talk. And if this don't work, then we'll just rock the other way. That's the first time
But
my
yeah,
camera just.
so everybody, just want to let you guys know. If you haven't seen Inside Out 2, definitely go check it out. Also, if you haven't seen that, also go check out Bad Boys 4. It was a movie I thoroughly enjoyed. So yeah, I am big fan of that. I think you guys will get a kick out of it too. Even if you haven't seen the other Bad Boys, I think this one is still worthy of seeing. Actually, interestingly enough, you can watch pretty much all the Bad Boy movies independently and pretty much catch on to what's going on. So you guys have that advantage. Um, if you guys want to go see that. And what else? What else is going on out in these streets out in the world? Oh yeah. So I know that Acolyte is going on right now. Homelander, not Homelander. That's not the name of the show. The Boys is going on, which I actually have only watched the first half hour of the first episode of the Boys season 4. So I am thoroughly impressed with what they've done so far. Although there was one thing which I won't spoil that I didn't know was a thing. So because I can't spoil it, I can't really say what it is. And then tomorrow, House of the Dragon season 2 starts. So we are in a very great. We're in a very good uh, time of content. Um, yeah. So I see your comment, Dar. Can't put your comment up. I don't have those permissions. But I
Man,
do see your comment. Yo, by the way, Mother's Milk, I thought was recast, but he just lost weight. He looks almost completely different. I was like, that guy looks like him. I guess they cast a guy who looks like Mother's Milk. That's him, which was crazy. I actually had to stop the episode and was like and Google like, did they recast this guy? Apparently not. So hey, congratulations to him. Um, but yeah, so yeah, and also
now the camera works. This is wild. Like I literally just turned my whole setup to the other camera, and now that
I
camera is back
so wait,
on.
do you have
Oh,
oh there you are. I was like,
I
say, do
got,
you
I
have
got,
3 cameras?
I might.
Okay, nice.
But let's get to it. I'm back apparently.
And you're
Hold
back.
on. Let's put this. I got my like I said, never change your setup before doing a live stream. Because I got to put y'all back on my. Oh, there we go. All right. I'm back.
And
So
back.
sorry about the technical difficulties, because why? I was going to say something sacrilegious, but let's get back to the comments.
Let's not commit sacrilege. But yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because we're going to talk about that when I talk about my top 10 movies, when we talk about Book of Clarence and sacrilegiousness. Here we go. Every time I watch Toy Story 3, I say to myself, keep it together. You know what? We as men, you don't need to hold it together, man. You gotta let it go. You gotta let it. I appreciate you understanding that about yourself, but it is okay to cry. I don't cry, honestly, in real life situations. I don't cry, but when I watch movies, I guess that's when I let it out. That's when, you know, my inner psyche finally says, you know what, this is your safe space. Let it all out, right? But it's okay. It really is.
Yeah.
And let's see what is going on with this? These comments. There we go. Every time. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. I'm not an adult yet. I'm soon 17. Jeez, to be young again. But like, I've never cried during any animated movie ever, not even Toy Story 3. Because you haven't gotten rid of your toys yet, Dark. That's probably that might be why.
That's why, but nah, that's crazy, because I've been crying at movies since since forever. Like, as soon as Mufasa bit it, I was out. I was done.
Bro, he was just hitting him. Dad, move. Wake up.
Yeah.
Dad, wake up. What? Man, I watched. Yes.
His brother threw him off a cliff.
His brother.
Over what?
Like
some jealousy?
Power.
Why in this Mufasa live action, they try to make Scar out to be some kind of like, oh, I was just jealous, or Mufasa did something to him. Nah. He threw his brother off a cliff at the end of the day. That's not something that you do.
Yeah, they might make Scar out to be like an anti-hero in Mufasa, and that would kind of like this Transformers Day One or whatever the name of it is. And they're making Megatron to be, something he's not. But I digress. We're not gonna talk about that yet. I don't want to start a controversy. Talk about Transformers Year One or whatever the case is. Elemental was great. You know what? I did not finish Elemental. Once again, my kids just weren't into it, and I was like, you know what? The kids ain't into it.
It's not for that, man. It's for us.
You're right. But I heard it was a romantic comedy.
Community.
I heard it was like a romantic comedy, and I was like, that's right up my alley. But part of me didn't want to watch that.
No, it's got some romantic comedy to it, but it's really about race relations and how you deal with different communities as an immigrant moving from one nation, from your home to another, to try to make a better life for your children, which is crazy because it's just a bunch of elements walking around trying to live around each other.
Is that more of the woke Disney? I didn't want to say that, but I know that's what people say.
But that's the thing.
They love using that.
Zootopia is just as woke, if that's the case. Like, and Zootopia is amazing.
Great, love that movie. I definitely enjoyed Zootopia way more than I thought I would. Actually, way more than I thought I would. Let's see, dark movies. First time I cried in a movie was a month ago with Interstellar. Yes, I was a huge baby.
One. Yeah,
boy,
that one's worthy of a cry for sure.
I think I might be heartless. Norwegian Batman. We get it.
You're not heartless, Dark. You got plenty of your heart.
Dark movies, women haters, sight. I don't know what that means.
No, that was back when we were talking about the Marvels and people not going to see it.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm not, like, I refuse to do that. I'm not gonna rant. I'm not gonna go on my rant on this stream. But yes, you're right. Reed Richards would turn into spaghetti.
That's true.
I felt nothing when that happened, honestly.
I was shocked. I was like, oh, I did not expect that to happen.
But I didn't feel anything because there were no stakes. Like I felt like there were no true stakes in that movie.
Hmm.
Uh, like that movie just felt like something that happened, but it didn't really happen. If that
Yeah,
makes any
I
sense.
think that you could move on for the rest of your MCU life and never address that movie again. Kind of, except for the fact that they did jump through the portal with Clea. So you know, I don't know what's going on. What's going to happen?
So I did hear she's coming back for the next one.
Yeah,
Believe
I'm excited
do
for it.
I I think they're going. I think that's going to be a great course correction for the
Yeah,
franchise. I don't think it needs it because Multiverse of Madness wasn't terrible,
no, it's not
but
terrible. Yeah,
but
it, it
yeah,
just could have been better. That's what I was
yes.
saying. But I did enjoy my time watching it. At the same time, when it was done, I was like, man, there's so many different ways in which they could have gone, and this way's not terrible, but it's also not great. So you know,
Scarlet Witch. I think I'm gonna do a movie, a video on Scarlet Witch herself, especially once Vision Quest comes out,
hmm,
because there's a lot that needs to be discussed with Scarlet Witch.
yeah,
Um, but let's get to a few more comments. Bumblebee was peak Transformers. I loved it so much. Great movie.
I love
Loves
Bumblebee.
how it was
That was fun.
small, grounded, G1 reboot. Unfortunately, it did not get a sequel. Instead, we got another soft reboot last year, which was not that good.
I enjoyed Rise of the Beast. I didn't think it was great. I thought we could have had a lot more um, of the Beast, the Maximals. I thought we could have had a
Yeah.
lot more of the Maximals actually have lines in the movie. But I didn't think it was bad. I just thought, like, I actually watched the climax of that movie yesterday, and I was
Mm.
just like, this is all right.
No, the ending was terrible. Like, I didn't like the ending. I thought everything going up to it, because all of the human characters were palatable. Like,
Yeah,
they weren't terrible. Like, it just the way it ended was just weird to me. It
it
just
was weird.
it went off the rails at the end. I thought it could have if it would have stuck the ending, I thought it would have been a way better movie.
I
Because I
agree.
felt like Bumblebee from start to finish was just a solid. Like it didn't get too high. It didn't get low at all.
Yeah.
It was just a really fun ride.
Hmm.
But the end of that movie was just it went way
Yeah,
off the.
the end wasn't great, but the journey to get there was pretty cool.
It was
Mm,
right. Now Homeland is beyond phenomenal. I started The Boys season 3, or was this
four.
season 4?
Yeah,
But I haven't. I got through one episode. Actually, I don't even think I got through the first episode. I was just way too tired.
I'm only halfway through the first episode, and it's good. It's good for sure.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I'm just gonna have to finish it at some point.
What's up, Dell on movies? Who I
What's up,
still
Dell? How's it going, man?
still think that guy's my cousin, but he's not. I know for a fact he's not, but he just looks like my cousin
I
every
can
time I
see the
watch
relation. I can see it.
him.
I both got glasses.
Yeah,
Old,
exactly.
old souls,
Well, if man, I'm not
old
an old
school.
soul. I'm an old person. We're gonna move on. Before I get to a few more
Hmm.
of the chat, we're just gonna move on to the biggest surprises because we've talked about the mid-year so far, but let's
Hmm.
talk about surprises, right? Like, what are some of you guys' biggest surprises this year in the movies? And Kenny, I just want to throw this off to you. Like, have you had any surprising movies that you didn't think was going to be good, but just exceeded your expectations?
So I was looking at my list on Letterbox, and the answer to that question is weirdly no.
Hmm.
Um, in terms of like, hey, this could be all right, but it's way better. Because a lot of the movies I've seen, I would say that I guess the only one, no, I wouldn't even count Inside Out 2 because Inside Out 2 was a movie, it's Pixar. I expected it to be good. I would have been shocked if it was bad. That's what would shock me. But I'm not shocked that it's good. I am shocked that it's actually number 2 on my 2024 list now. It jumped
Wow.
that high. Yeah, it surpassed Challengers and it's right behind Dune. Um, but the biggest surprises I have listed here is Abigail is one of my surprises. I didn't think that it would be bad. I thought it would be solid, but it was actually much better than I expected it to be. So I guess you could say that, but that's coming from a place where I was like, oh, this could be good or it could be terrible, but it actually turned out to be pretty fun, really fun. Actually, it's not in my top 10. Hey, you got to stop texting me in the noonday. Let me see. I'm sorry. Let me turn on my notifications.
You're good, man.
Because I saw one text come through, I was like, all right, they'll text me later, and then they just started flooding. So that's one. The second one I would say is Damsel. Damsel is a movie I didn't even watch a trailer for. I heard about it, heard about a Millie Bobby Brown Netflix movie, and Netflix movies don't really get a lot of love because they're Netflix movies, and a lot of them aren't good. Damsel was so much fun. Like I had such a good time watching that movie. So that movie surprised me. I was not expecting to go into that thinking like, or come out of that thinking, oh, this is one of the better movies I've seen this year. So I enjoyed Damsel tremendously. Here's my biggest surprise. My biggest surprise is that Madam Web isn't the worst movie I've seen this year. That's my biggest surprise. Like, I thought after seeing Madam Web, I was like, oh, that's it. That's awful, right? Then I saw American Society of Magical Negroes. Then I saw Mea Culpa from Tyler Perry. And then I saw, I want to be honest with you, those two Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earth movies are god awful. And here's the reason why it's worse than Madam Web. I was entertained by Madam Web, even though it was awful. Crisis on Infinite Earths movies, 1 and 2, are both, which I watched both of them because I was like, maybe the second one would be better. It wasn't. Well, it's better, but it's not better. Good. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was not just bad, it was boring. I was bored. I was like, bro, please, just, I don't care about anything that's happening on my screen right now. Right? So I was surprised that there were movies this year that were worse than Madam Web. So that's my biggest surprise of this year.
Well, I actually have quite a few movies below. So Madam Web is bad, right? But yeah. Madam Web isn't the worst movie I've ever seen.
Right.
I have about 5 or 6 movies that are below Madam Web in my letterbox because they are like atrocious movies. And we're going to talk about disappointments because Crisis is for sure one of the biggest disappointments of this year. I did.
Oh my God.
I watched both. I watched. The second one was better than the first.
Rebel Moon was another one that was worse than Madam Web. Atlas was worse than Madam Web. Yeah, man. They're pretty bad. Pretty bad. So I have 1, 2, 3. I have 6 movies behind Madam Web, which is shocking to me.
It doesn't shock me because like for all the crap I give Madam Web, it wasn't that bad. Like to me, it wasn't that bad. It was bad, but it wasn't, like you said, I was at least entertained. Like there were some entertaining parts of the movie. And it wasn't that bad, but there were some other movies that was just way worse. And we're definitely going to talk about that in the disappointments section.
Yeah.
But I have a few surprises. I actually took notes. One of my biggest surprises was Mean Girls, the musical.
I enjoyed that.
I enjoyed the hell out of that.
Yeah.
Like all of the characters, like everyone was phenomenal. Tim Meadows was great. Like every scene he was in, I just laughed. Like him and Tina Fey, they cracked me up. The musical numbers weren't overly annoying. Like they weren't like
A Loving Wife with Food. Sorry, 1 second.
Oh, I respect it.
Thank you so much. Got the dumplings on deck. Look
Oh
at
man,
we out
that's
here
what I'm talking
with the
about.
presentation. Thanks, sweetheart.
I mean, I'm not hungry or anything, so it's okay. Nobody brought me anything. It's all right. It's all right. Next time. You got me next time. We one
I,
step at a time.
I got when we get the technology to ship food in like 3 seconds. First of all, I
Exactly.
can't wait for that. Even though there's going to be some, multiversal residue on that, John, because they got to send it through somebody's solution. But yeah, I'm sorry, you were saying?
But yeah, we just talk about Mean Girls, some of the surprises. Another big surprise for me was there's a small indie film. Zach watched it, Zach Attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think about dying. That
I want to see
movie
that.
was it's so subdued. It felt like The Office, but if The Office was less funny and The Office was real,
Okay. Okay.
it felt
Oh,
like being in a true office where it was just like these mundane things happening throughout the day. And it stars Daisy Ridley, and she puts on perhaps one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. Like just with her character had these quirks. Like she just
mm-hmm.
it it was it's not the best movie you're ever gonna see, but if you accept it for what it is,
Yeah.
at the end of it, you're gonna come out of it feeling a lot better about one, the movie, about yourself. It's
Mm-hmm.
like just real great character study on just depression, agoraphobia, just like
You said
all of these
agoraphobia?
yes,
I'm not
like
familiar.
the fear of being around other people.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I think that's what that means. So,
Mm-hmm.
boy, I might have just completely misused that word, and I'm pretty sure somebody in the chat's gonna let me know if I
mm-hmm.
did. Um, but it's a really really good story, really good movie.
Yeah.
Um, Another big surprise was Hitman. I didn't
Hitman was
think
great.
such a good movie. I
Yeah.
didn't think it was going to be as good as it was. I didn't foresee it being as romantically like I didn't see it being that good of a romantic comedy the way it was. Like those two had amazing chemistry with each other. And I enjoyed that. And what else? And there's this small movie on Hulu that I think everybody should watch called Greatest Hits. That's in my top 10 of the year so far. It's about this woman who time travels throughout her life. Her boyfriend dies, and her boyfriend's played by David Cornsweet, the new Superman.
Okay.
Um, and her boyfriend dies like years ago, and she gets transported in time every time she listens to a song that was playing during their relationship. And it's such a cool concept, and the execution is even better. And it's a story about grief. It's a story about moving on because she meets a new guy, and she doesn't know how to tell him, and she starts falling in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
So she's trying to listen to the music less because at first she's listening to music every day, trying to save her boyfriend. She would go back in time and she would try to change the past. But of course, there's these concepts of time not being a spaghetti bowl, like in the Flash, where
Mm-hmm.
it's like, there are finite events in your life that have to happen. And it's such a wonderful movie. It's not for everybody. I saw a lot of people on Letterboxd kind of slam it, saying it was too melodramatic. But I thought it was fantastic. It
Yeah.
wasn't a comedy. It wasn't a romantic comedy. It was a dramedy. It had elements of comedy. It had a lot of elements of drama, and it
Mm-hmm.
just dealt with grief in a very unique way by using songs, and it has a dope soundtrack. Like the soundtrack is insane because you're listening to all of these movies. I mean, all of this music that you grew up with. Like it's
Right.
not like it's a lot of '90s, a lot of 2000s, like not alternative, but like not mainstream songs. But like the
Mm-hmm.
soundtrack is insane because it digs in the crates and it brings up some very unique songs that usually aren't in people's soundtrack, but songs that songs you've heard of before. And it's
Nice.
it's a dope movie, and it's on Hulu, so it's one of the Hulu originals. And definitely, if you get a chance to check that out, Greatest Hits. I don't know anybody in the cast because other than David Cornsweet,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, it's definitely a movie worth your time.
Go.
And speaking of worth time, I want to jump back into the chat while you're eating.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Well, the
Eh,
other thing is, I'm
go
sorry. Go
ahead,
ahead.
man.
Good. Now, I was saying, I think I overthought it because there are two other movies, which is Origin by Ava DuVernay. That was a movie I saw. That movie is phenomenal. I did not. I was surprised by it because when I was watching the trailer for it, whenever the trailer would come on, I would watch the first 5 seconds and skip it because it was part of like YouTube's like ads and stuff like that. So I thought it
Yeah,
was a romantic comedy with Anjanou Ellis and the gentleman who plays Punisher, whose name I can't remember for whatever reason right now.
John
Uh,
Bernthal.
John Bernthal, right? It's actually a story about the Trayvon Martin case. So when I went into the theater and thought, okay, I'm going to watch this, you know, this romance movie, and then the first scene is the death of Trayvon Martin. I was like, what's happening here? but the entire movie is phenomenal. And the other movie was Turtles All the Way Down, which is on HBO Max right now. I think Origin's also available for rent and stream right now too. But Turtles All the Way Down is a movie about just anxiety and extreme anxiety and how it makes you feel and how you relate to people who are neurotypical, who mean well for you, but sometimes you don't treat others as like it expresses the experience of someone who's like neurotypical who doesn't have those kind of mental health issues and how
Mhm.
they are also impacted by people who do have mental health issues. So it's not just this black and white thing. And it's a phenomenal movie. I absolutely love it. Both of those movies are in my top 10 movies of this year.
Yeah, so you actually dissuaded me from watching Origin, even though you love it. Once you
Hmm.
said the first scene was Trayvon Martin, I just tuned. I was like, you know what? I can't do it. I really have to be in the mood to watch Origin, and I
The
will
funny
eventually. But
it's in the funny thing is it's in the trailer, but I always skipped it after the first 5 seconds.
mhm.
I was like, if I would have watched the trailer, I would have known that.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I
No, but I
can't.
feel you. I definitely feel you.
That's just a tough watch for me, especially. Yeah,
Yeah.
that takes me to places that I really don't want to go mentally again.
I'm with
And
you on
of
that.
course, we're there, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'd much rather not watch it in movies.
Yeah. I'm with you.
But the 80s kid from the 90s said, I'm more excited for Transformers 1 after hearing the early feedback. I haven't heard any feedback for that, but I'm gonna take the kids to go see that. Deleted the other one. Nah, Homeland is the best for sure. You know what? Homeland is the worst for sure. The boys are great. They're a great show, but Homeland is such a terrible human being. Or a terrible soup. He's a terrible soup because human beings are beneath him. Now Craven is 100% making a billion. Am I right? You know what?
Absolutely
I
not.
honestly hope Craven makes $1 billion. I really do.
Mm.
I take that back because I don't want Sony to ever make any of those movies ever again.
It would be good for conversation if it did make a
It
billion.
would. Oh my god. Oh my god.
How did this happen?
Sony would make commercials of them laughing at us. Like they'll
Yeah.
probably personally message every single movie critic who dumped on their movies and be like, you guys are idiots, and we just made $1 billion. They'll just like throw ones at us like we're like
Hmm.
old used strippers or something. I don't know. I would
What?
do that if I was in Sony. Like I would just be it's like you guys are broke and we just made $1 billion. So I would definitely
Hilarious.
throw all that money in your face. Ned, Peter, all three Peters, yeah. Great scene.
Yeah.
Spider-Man No Way Home. Love that movie.
Great movie.
Let's see. Delo movies. I love Inside Out, but Bing Bong equals Ricky is wild.
That is wild. That is absolutely insane. That is crazy. I can't express to you how insane that is.
The depth. That makes me laugh. But I meant it though. Those are two tough deaths to watch. But I mean, Bing Bong did not have a scholarship to go to USC, and we know that. You know, I said we might I might get canceled after this one, and that might do it for a lot of my audience. We need some elevator music when something doesn't work. You're right. You're 100% correct. When my camera is out, but I mean, Kenny held it down. He started talking about all the great movies, and I
I tried.
appreciate
I did as well as I could.
it. Now we do. We definitely do need that elevated music.
Mm-hmm.
Bad Boys 4, Adele movie says Bad Boys 4 was fun.
It
Haven't
was.
seen Inside Out 2 yet. I'm going to talk about. I didn't do a review on Bad Boys 4 because I didn't have the time, honestly, and I didn't have the energy to do it. But I'm definitely going to do a very quick review once I get to my top 10 because Bad Boys 4 is for sure in my top 10 of 2024 so far.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dark Movie says, wait, really? I do not need to see the other Bad Boy. You definitely do. Like, in order to enjoy this movie, you don't.
Yeah.
But actually, in order to enjoy this movie, you do. Because you have to see Bad Boys 2 to see Reggie's origin.
Yeah.
To understand how great it is in Bad Boys 4.
I think to enjoy the individual movies, you don't. But to get the most enjoyment out of the movies, you definitely should.
Yeah, because there are characters in this one that you needed to see for life, which of course everyone has said this one should have been called For Life.
It should have
instead of the last one.
Yep. It's so funny.
Like,
every single review I've watched has opened up with the fact that this movie should have been called For Life.
Yes. Because
including mine.
Yes. Because it's totally true.
Yep.
But it helps. It helps to see. It actually helps to see all of them. Bad Boys 1 honestly doesn't tie, like nothing ties back into that.
No.
But 2, 3, and 4, they all kind of have this staple. Like they're all parts in this movie that come from those movies.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got. Dark movies. Kenny, you need to see The Boys season 4. I'm
probably going to be watching that after I finish Clash at the Castle, the WWE event. Finish watching the last 2 matches of that. After this, I'll probably move right on to The Boys.
For sure. And you were talking about Mother's Milk looking like one, he has this crazy mustache that I don't want to say what it reminds me of.
Oh no.
Because it reminds me of a person who is of ill repute who massacred it. That was the first thing I thought. Like, why does he have this mustache? Like he has. I don't even like saying his name, but anyways, he does look oddly different in this season, and I hope he's doing all right. Because the last time that we said that somebody looked bad, it was Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
And next thing you know,
well, I read up on it because I was convinced that the person was recast. I was like, but no, it does look like him. It turns out, in quotes, I was eating way too much pizza. I decided to change my diet. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I thought he looked like big and like built. I didn't think he looked like big and portly.
I never thought that he looked like too big. I thought he just looked like a bigger dude, but no.
Like he was fit. Like
he swung the pendulum the complete opposite way. He was like, yeah. But props to him for being healthy.
Yeah, to each his own. He might have went vegan. A lot of people do for some reason. And I shouldn't say that so loud because my wife is vegan. Moving on. Let's moving on. All right. Dell on movies. Oh, wait a minute. Dell movies said not really. The narratives are pretty self-contained and they're all fun movies. He's right. All of the Bad Boy movies are really fun. The last one, Ride For Life, wasn't the best one out of the group. It probably was my least favorite of all the Bad Boys movies. But it still was good. It still had its moments.
I put my rankings out for all 4, and it's definitely like last, but it's not last because it's bad. It's last because it's not as good as the other ones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm definitely gonna watch that ranking thing. I wanted so bad to put out a Bad Boys review. And I said, you know what? I'll just do it in a live stream.
It's like ranking of the first 3 Toy Story movies, like ranking the first 3 Toy Story movies. It's like
exactly.
I mean, like whatever one of them
has to be last.
Bad. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't actually I couldn't do that. Well, no, I could. It would go 3, 2, 1. like that would be my Toy Story ranking. It would go 3, 2, 1. I mean this, and like you said, none of them are bad because they're all great
Hmm.
movies. And then Toy Story 4, of course, would be last because Toy Story 4 is never mind. Not my Toy Story, as they say.
Let me tell you something.
Not-
I 1000% agree with you. Whatever you weren't going to say, I agree with that.
just not my Toy Story. They should just stop at a 3. And all right, let's see. We got dark movies. Oh, you were one of them. You were one of them, though. He was recast. I was sitting there knowing it was him. Yeah, he does look strangely different. And like you said, I guess he just stopped eating those pizzas. And I just hope he's
Yep.
healthy. Like
Yeah.
I hope he's healthy. And that's all I could do is wish the best for that brother. Because Laz Alonso is a dope actor. He's
He's
a
good.
dope. He's
Yeah.
such a dope actor. Doesn't get
Yeah.
enough credit for one of my favorite Stomp the Yard. He wasn't Stomp the Yard. He was the not the dude, not Darren Henson, but he was the dude above Darren Henson in the frat.
He was in Stomp the Yard.
Yes, he had to have
What?
been. I'm not mixing up my black people. Don't do don't do me don't do me like that, kid. I
I've
know I'm
seen
not.
Stomp the Yard a million times. I guess I got to go back because people look
No,
different
he
over.
had it was him, or am I tripping? He was he man. Somebody let me know if Laz Alonso was in Stomp the Yard. I know he was in Stomp the Yard. I don't want to get too head of the chat because somebody in the
Yeah.
chat, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Dell Movies who lets me know if he was or wasn't in Stomp the Yard. And I'm not trying to stereotype people, but I'm pretty sure Dell Movies Stomp the Yard. Or maybe not. Who knows? All right, Della movie's interesting. I wanted to see that movie, but it didn't have time for the other 3. I think you'll have a good time on it. I think you'll have a good time with it, no matter what. If you don't see all other 3, the fourth one is just a good time at the movies. Martin Lawrence and Will Smith are just phenomenal together in that movie. Dell on Movies said, I never cry over movies, but Toy Story 3 had me on the verge. That movie just it didn't have me on the verge. I was melting in my chair. I was crying. So
Mhm.
like it was like, man, like I remember getting rid of boxes of toys that I had such fond memories of. Like I remember those days. Like I truly remember that as I was watching the movie and like thinking of me and my cousins, me and my brother, how we would just have so much fun
Yeah.
creating these memories and creating these stories with inanimate objects that meant so much to our childhood. Like I
Yep.
just had that feeling as I was watching the end of that movie, and I was just in utter like I was a wreck of a human being watching the end of Toy Story 3, especially thinking they weren't gonna make it too. It was like part of me truly thought that they weren't gonna make
I
it.
thought they were done, and I was done watching them, thinking they were going to be done. The last 20 minutes of that movie, I don't think I stopped crying.
Man, you had to beat it. Like,
Yeah.
I wish I can go back and watch it for the first time again now. Like,
Yep.
because I would have those same emotions. Like, it doesn't hit the same when you watch it over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but the first time, man, Hugh.
When they start holding hands and they just accepted it. It's like it's over. I was just like, oh, y'all, man,
bro. That one might be closer to Ricky. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
That's hilarious.
But Dell's gonna unsubscribe after. It's like, what, man? You are tripping. I'm out of here. Let's see. Dell on Movies is some character things carry over from movie to movie, but nothing you really need to enjoy any of them. That is true.
Yeah.
That is very true.
Yeah. One in particular about someone having sex with a witch definitely carries over, but that's neither here nor there.
Yes. That was such a weird drop. That was so weird. Like that, all of like Bad Boys for Life is such a weird. Like thinking
Yeah.
about it as I was watching that, and he started talking about like, "Yo, that really
What?
happened."
Yeah.
All of that really, like in my mind, I truly forgot about that until they started talking about it in the movie. I was like, "Wow."
That scene with Martin when they were on the plane together, he was like, you had sex with a witch without a condom on? Come on, man. You gotta wrap that up.
Oh man, Dark is sitting there like, what the hell are they talking about? Like, man, you don't have to see it. It actually might be better if you don't see that movie.
No, definitely
and
see
just
it.
go
It's
into
great.
this one.
Well, yeah.
And just go into this one. Dark said he also purchased tickets to go see it tomorrow because y'all said those stuff. You know what? Definitely go and enjoy it, and then watch the other ones afterward, and then see how great Bad Boys Ride or Die is because it is so much fun. So much fun. 80s Kid from 90s said it was so anticlimactic. I'm not exactly sure which movie he's talking about.
He's talking about Rise of the Beast.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Was not a big fan of that ending. Dark Movie said he don't really have one, but maybe he would throw out Hitman. It was not. I was not looking forward to it that much, but it was great. It really was. I was looking forward to it because Glenn Powell seems to be having his moment. He really is having his moment, and Twisters is gonna kind of nail that home.
Yep.
But yeah, I didn't think Hitman would be as fun as I thought it would be. But Richard Linklater is a great director. Like I didn't realize what movies he directed. He directed some of my very favorite movies ever. Boyhood. Love Boyhood. If you've not watched Boyhood, what Richard Linklater did in Boyhood is he filmed, I think it was like 3 or 4 characters over the span of 12 years. And every year he would film a different scene in this boy's life from going from like, I want to say it was like from like 6 all the way up to 18. And you watch this kid grow on screen. It was him, I think Mark Ruffalo. I can't remember who the dad was in that movie. But Boyhood is something like it is the sheer ambition to film the same actors for 12 years, like taking a month out of each year to go, or taking a few weeks out of each year to go film just this boy actually growing up into a man. And you just see the different hardships each year that his family's going through. Like they start as a loving family, they go through a divorce. He grows up, he falls in love for the first time. It's such a great, like, directors don't take movie studios don't take swings like that. But directors for sure don't take swings like just the sheer imagination and innovation of doing that over the years and sticking with it. You know,
I need to see it.
It's a great movie. And it's not a spectacle, but it's just a story about a boy going through life, right?
Yeah.
And we're all men here. I don't know if there are any women who've jumped into the chat, but like this story kind of tells every little nook and cranny of you growing up. And of course, it's a different setting, not the way I grew up specifically, because a lot of it takes place in the suburbs. But still, like, we're all different. We all grew up in different places, but it's all pretty much the damn same, you know, unless you're rich.
I grew up in a hood, you know what I'm saying? Dodging bullets every day. I was one of the soldiers on the block, you know what I'm talking about, until I started going to the movies and changed my life. Back in 95 when I was 5, it was a tough road to hoe, but I was out there, man. Had to survive. Had to survive.
I respect that, man. I respect. And you know what? I believe every word. I believe every word of that.
True life story.
True life story.
Yep.
As you were saying that, all I kept thinking was state property, because you're right? I was just like,
I had a state property jacket, which is crazy because I thought back when I was like, we was really walking around wearing clothes that said state property. That's insane. What were we doing?
Get down or lay down.
State prop chain gang? Like, we was out here. We was in G with it. We was in state property. We was in The Rock. We was in everything. I swear. we thought we were thugs in my high school, but none of us were because after we would put on the Beanie Siegel while we playing Yu-Gi-Oh. That was the extent of our gangster. Beanie Siegel and Yu-Gi-Oh was a staple.
Oh my! I almost died over here. Holy shit! You know what, man? I just had a newfound respect for you. That's hilarious. I'm saying he's listening to the truth and playing Yu-Gi-Oh at the same time.
Yep.
You know what, man? That's the most thug shit I ever heard in my life. Man.
Yeah, man. What?
I'm never gonna mess with you because you just about that life, man. Like,
trust me. I'll pull out a Blue Eyes White Dragon in a second. Don't.
So Yu-Gi-Oh is definitely after my time. Like I was like a late teenager when Yu-Gi-Oh became a thing. And I've watched soldiers play it, but I just never got into it. But I definitely understand that, and I would not mess with you, Kenny, because I don't want those hands. I don't want that level 25. I don't know it. I'm about to say something disrespectful to the Yu-Gi-Oh culture, and they're gonna come after me, and Kenny's gonna get mad and throw some Beanie Siegel on, and just I don't need that. I don't need that in my life, so I'm gonna leave it alone.
I'll drive to Texas now from Philly.
That's the funniest shit ever. That's hilarious. That's hilarious, man. Oh man, I want to get through some more of these comments before we talk about disappointments, because boy, I got a few. I definitely got some disappointments for this year. Dark Movie said, I agree with Kenny. I thought it would be fantastic, but it became phenomenal. And now I have that in my top 5 of the year. Another one was Imaginary. I thought it would be super bad, but it was just okay. I refuse to watch that movie because I'm never going to think about DeWanda Wise in a negative instance in my life, because that is fine.
That woman's gorgeous. Yeah.
Whew. She's the only reason I liked Jurassic Park Dominion. The only reason, because that movie was terrible.
She was the only good thing to look at in that movie. That is for sure.
Actually, 2 movies behind Madam Web, Rebel Moon Part 2 and Sasquatch Sunset. I refuse to go watch that movie. I don't care how many movie YouTubers say that it's innovative and you gotta respect the movie makers for going out and making something creative. No, thank you. I respect Jesse Eisenberg. I really like him as an actor, but I do not want to go see him in Sasquatch makeup. Don't want to see that. There's some people who had it really high. Some people said it was just like this great thing. And
I'm going to watch it, but I don't know what to expect because half the people who have watched it have told me it's good, and half the people told me it's the worst thing they've ever seen. So I'm just going to go into it blind and just let it happen.
You know what? I can't wait to hear what you thought of it once you watched it.
I might watch it this weekend.
This weekend is kind of packed because I think I'm gonna watch House of the Dragon. I definitely gotta catch up on The Boys
for sure.
I saw the TV Globe came out for rental this weekend.
Yep.
So I definitely want to check that. I wanted to watch that last night, but I couldn't find it where I usually watch my rentals at. Not paying $20 for it. But yeah, like I want to check that out because I've heard mixed reviews on that too. But I think
same
that I think it might be something that I'd enjoy.
I saw the TV Glow, and the one that we literally just talked about. Sasquatch Sunset. I want to get done this week. This weekend. I want to get them out of the way because I know both of them are kind of like. Controversial is too much. It's not controversial, but it has the mixed reviews, I should say.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to get both of those out of the way this weekend.
For sure. I definitely can't wait to hear what you have to say about both of those movies.
Ooh, The Stranger Chapter 1 I have available. I might do a a trilogy of potentially bad.
Okay. Don't watch Stranger Chapter 1. The movie's terrible. It I haven't heard anybody say that movie's good. watch it. I want somebody to watch it. And I want to record them watching it because I just want to hear you yell at these people because they're so dumb. Like,
That's my specialty.
yeah. Oh man, it's terrible. But yeah, like if you got the time, because this is just a pack weekend on things, man. It's a pack weekend on movies.
Yeah.
If you were bored during Crisis, Kenny, I don't think you should watch Sasquatch Sunset. It is the most boring movie of all time.
We'll see. I'm gonna take a swing at it.
Crisis Part 1 was so boring. I watched that movie 4 times because I wanted to get it. Like every time, the fourth time I watched it, I said, you know what? I'm not going to touch my phone throughout the movie. And that was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Where I'm just sitting there watching this thing that is actually boring me to death. Like the third time I watched it, I fell asleep watching it because it was so boring because I didn't want to use my phone. I woke up and I rewound it and then I started playing on my phone. And I was like, man, the fourth time I watched it all the way through. I didn't fall asleep. And I was like, this is terrible. I didn't miss anything.
Just bad. Yep.
It is just bad. And then the second one, Part 2, wasn't as boring, but the story, and like DC makes some of the greatest animated movies of all time. And this is one of the greatest comic book stories of all time.
Yeah.
And they managed to just screw this up. And maybe I just haven't read the comics well enough to know how, like, if the story is that bad, I need to go back and read that story because it's terrible. The movie is terrible.
Yeah,
both parts.
It's really bad.
And it's Part 3, and I'm gonna stomach through that one too, and it's just gonna upset me even more. I don't even know when Part 3 comes out. It doesn't even matter. I'll let it.
It comes out later this year, but I don't care to watch it. I'm going to watch it because I'm going to finish the story. But
Cody reference right there. Gotta finish the story.
He had a great match today, by the way.
I did not watch. Only thing I watched was Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable, which was
I watched that too. Yeah,
that was a good one. I respect the movie, but my enjoyment was gone. I kind of hated Mean Girls. I respect that. Like, Mean Girls not for everyone, especially the musical aspect. A lot of people didn't like the musical aspect.
Yeah, I had a great time.
The Beekeeper might be the biggest surprise so far. I thought it was going to be garbage, and I really liked it. I love The Beekeeper. One, that was like my biggest video of the year. For some reason, 1,800 people watched that review of Beekeeper.
Nice.
I was like, I've never reached that again. I haven't even come close, but everybody, like, that movie was so dope to me. I had such a good time with The Beekeeper because I like Jason Statham. Like, you know what you're going to get with Jason Statham. Like, nothing is a surprise when you walk into a Jason Statham movie.
Absolutely not.
If you're surprised, then you don't know Jason Statham. He's going to come out there. And some of his movies are terrible, but I'll put Crank 1 and 2 against almost any other action movie. And like, I love those. Like, those are some of my favorite action movies because they're so ridiculously silly. Part 2, there's a dude with Tourette's who, like, the dude from Napoleon Dynamite, Pedro. He plays the twin brother of a guy who got killed in the first one, and then Part 2, the guy has Tourette's, and it's one of the funniest jokes. Like, every scene he's in is hilariously bad, but it's so bad, it's hilarious. Like, you have to watch Crank 1 and 2.
That sounds crazy.
You won't check it out. You will not regret it. They're completely insane movies, like, from start to finish. I think you love Speed, right?
I love Speed. Speed is
Crank. He can't let his heart rate get below a certain number or he's gonna die. Like, they implanted something in him, like he.
Okay, got it. I get the connection.
Like, to where he can't get his heart rate. So the whole movie, he's just going because he has to keep going. It's like a scene. Like, I don't even want to spoil it, but if you like Speed, you gonna love Crank. Such a great movie.
Nice. I'm gonna check it out.
But The Beekeeper, it's Jason Statham being Jason Statham, and that one was a lot more gory than I thought it would be. It was a lot of
Oh yeah,
Glory Kills and Beekeeper.
Oh yeah, yeah. There are quite a few.
The Ace, the dynamic duo.
Hey,
Thank
hey.
you so much for being in the chat once again. If you listen to the replay, probably like the first 10 minutes is just bigging you up. If you're still here, hopefully you are. But definitely thank you for stopping back in. Let's see, Dark Movie said the big surprise for me is the Fall Guy. I was super excited for it, but watching the movie, it hit something inside of me. And I actually have the Fall Guy as a disappointment because I love the Fall Guy so much. It is actually my top movie of the year so far because of it checked every box of movies that I love, but
Mhm.
it did so poorly at the box office. It really disappointed me. And it's not because I didn't like the movie, it's just because nobody else did. Like
Yeah.
people see it and they're gonna love it, but nobody went and saw it, which was very strange to me. And I've heard a bunch of YouTubers come on and say why it didn't make a lot of money, but it was just it was a really fun movie for me.
I thoroughly enjoyed the Fall Guy.
Yeah, I had a great time. Just a lot of people didn't go see it for whatever reason.
Mhm.
Uh, hopefully it'll gain some life, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons. I hope that gained enough life in streaming to get a follow-up because that was another
Mhm.
phenomenal movie that nobody went and saw.
That was a movie I really enjoyed as well.
Jay Polon, sorry I'm
Hey, what's
late,
up, Jay?
but better late than never. Thank you so much for joining. See, Dark Movies is moving to one of my favorite movies of all time. I know it's crazy to say that while it's still in 2024. I don't know. It just hit me good. I'm assuming he's talking about Inside Out 2. What's good, chat? Hello,
Subject.
T. Thank you so much. You know what? I really appreciate you. You dropped in on my first live stream as well, and I really appreciate you for being here again. Salute. Hello to Ace. Jay shouting everybody out because you know what? That's just the type of person Jay is, man. He's a real good. I see him in different chats and he always supports everybody, and I really appreciate that. See, 80s Kid from Nice said he'll be right back. Everyone is saying what's up to everyone. I'm not gonna read those all. Y'all get the point.
Mhm.
They say hello, everyone. Hope everyone is having a great weekend so far. You know what? Tomorrow's Father's Day.
Yeah.
If your father's still in your life, if your father's still alive, definitely send him a shout.
I'm taking mine
And
to
of
breakfast
course,
tomorrow.
oh, nice. You know what? If I get some socks, if I get some new underwear, I'm happy, man. Like
Yeah, man.
I'm that type of dad. You know,
Bare
give me
necessities.
the corny stuff.
Yeah.
Or
And
card.
happy
That's
Father's
all I
Day
need.
to all the fathers in here. Happy Father's Day to you too, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Yes, Father's Day is tomorrow. Happy Father's Day to all fellow dads. You know what? Happy Father's Day to you too, Dell, on movies.
Happy Father's Day, Dell.
Right, Ace Kid from 90 say he's back. Welcome back. Thank you so much for stopping back in. Dark Movie said Toy Story 4 is underrated. You are now canceled, Dark.
Oh my God.
you have
Canceled.
now. Yeah, I'm just kidding. I don't know why I just decided to use that word today, like as if
That's all
everything
good.
is cancelable. But yeah, Dark Movies 4. You know what? I respect that opinion. I respect your opinion. Toy Story 4 might be underrated, but not to me.
Yeah,
It's not my Toy Story 4.
it's rated exactly where it's supposed to be for me.
Dello Movie says he loves Toy Story 4 and he will not abide by this slander. You know what? I'm sorry. I am. Movies mean to you what they mean to you.
Mm-hmm.
Toy Story 4 means nothing to me.
Damn. Also true for me, but damn. Yep.
Like movies they definitely mean different things to people. But like I watched Toy Story 4 with my kids, and my kids had no idea what was going on because they hadn't watched any other Toy Story movies. But my son thought Forky was like the greatest thing ever. And he actually started playing with the plastic fork. And I wanted to just knock that thing out of his hand. And little does he know I threw that thing away one day when he wasn't looking because I'm a terrible dad.
That's the way to do it.
He enjoyed the hell out of it. So I can't even knock him. He definitely had a good time with that movie. Just wasn't for me. But they should have stopped at 3. Thank you so much, Dark, for saying that. But Toy Story
Sure.
4 might be underrated in a lot of people's eyes. I'm just giving it crap because why not?
Mhm.
80s Kid says, even though 5 is unnecessary, I'm excited for Andrew Stanton directing the movie, aka the voice of the original Zurg. Okay. You know, I mentioned something on Zach Mills' channel a few weeks back, and I want to retract that. So I said that Andy Serkis, like, is such a great thespian and great actor in like all of the Planet of the Apes movies that he can't do no wrong. But Andy Serkis apparently directed one of the worst movies ever made, and I can't think of what it is right now.
Venom
It's on the
2?
tip of my
Venom, Let There Be Carnage?
Yes, that's
Mhm.
exactly it.
Yep.
Andy Serkis directed that. So Andy
Absolutely
Serkis can
awful.
do wrong. Because
Yes.
that movie was terrible.
Awful. Just awful.
Terrible.
Yeah.
And I don't know why that just made me think of that. Because that has nothing to do with Toy Story 5 or Andrew Stanton. Because I don't even know. Well, other than voicing the original Zurg, didn't know that guy
Mhm.
existed. So I am right. So Dello movie said Lars Lazo and Darren to look like 45 years seniors and Stomp the Yard. They did. Darren Henson is like in his 40s in that movie, man. Like he was
It's
trying to play
crazy.
great dancer,
Yeah.
dancer, you know.
Trying to play college kids.
But trying to play college kids. Both of them had to have been at least in their 30s. At least at the very minimum in their 30s when they did Stomp the Yard. Great movie. Kill Chris Brown way too soon.
Yeah, that was shocking.
That was shocking.
Because you know they sold that movie on Chris Brown's in it, so all the girls would show up and then they killed him in the
Chris Brown was in the poster. Like Chris Brown was in the poster.
Oh yeah, he's like the main person in the poster.
He's the main person in the poster. It was like they really sold it. When I went and saw Stomp the Yard, he got killed, and I was like, he coming back. Like in my mind.
They killed this man in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I said, hey, y'all enjoy the rest of the movie now.
Yeah. Like seriously.
That's crazy.
Man. They really did sell us on Chris Brown, and he got killed super early. 80s Kid from 90, I still play with my toys. I just don't have enough space. I truly know that. I know that feeling. I've gotten rid of so much of my collectibles because of moving around a lot. You just don't have enough space for that in different places that I move to.
Yeah.
Say, yep, accurate T. Ethan Hawke, I think. Yeah, Ethan Hawke might have been a dad in Boyhood. You might be right, because Ethan Hawke and Richard Linklater, they do a lot of things before sunset, before midnight, before or after midnight. I can't remember the name of the third one. Those are really good movies too. Also, yeah, I've not seen it, but that sounds insane and amazing. Dello Movie says he can't stand Richard Linklater, and especially Boyhood. He filmed a boring section of a movie for 12 boring years. I respect that. I just thought it's so, to me, was the movie super exciting? No, but it was a character study in this boy's growth, growing into a young man, and Ethan Hawke played the dad. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Kenny, you already know what I'm about to say.
I do.
You crazy Americans.
Yep. Talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! And Beanie Siegel.
That's insane. That might be the greatest take that I've ever, like, man, that's hilarious. Dark Moon said all this talk is proving my point. But he respects it. Oh man, I don't know why this thing keeps jumping through chat, because Ace has something to say. See, there's nothing like rocking the 4XL tall tees, baggy pants with the basketball shorts. Yeah. Unfortunately, it was filled with hats and do-rags under. Yep, we thought we were thugs.
Swore we was thugs. I was on a bus singing that G Unit in the G Unit album. It's like cocaine, heroin, ecstasy, marijuana, mule on a Greyhound, Mississippi to Carolina. I was in the drug bars on the way to a very, very nice high school. That was my jam.
Oh man, you know what? I like every time you mention G Unit, I think about. See, I'm once again a little older, but
Mhm.
50 Cent saved America. And what I mean by that is
Wow.
Get Rich or
Okay.
Die Trying.
Was
Get
great.
Rich or Die Trying came out during the invasion of Iraq. And every soldier, didn't matter what vehicle you were in, we had that shit bumping. We went into Iraq listening to Get Rich or Die Trying, like we about to blow this shit up. You know why? Because we
Oh my god.
PIMPs. Like we,
Because we the
bro,
PIMPs.
Get Rich or Die Trying, man. Like Mini Men.
Oh,
Holy,
wish death upon me.
oh
Blood in
my
my eyes and
god!
I can't see. I'm trying to be
Imagine,
what I'm destined to be, and it's trying to take my life away. I could literally
imagine
sing the rest of it.
being in Iraq,
Uh-huh.
listening to Mini Men as you're at war with people trying to blow you up. Like
Dog.
we took like that shit was an anthem, man. Like people like you had to be there to
I
understand. At least the soldiers I knew was listening to that.
part
They
of
were
me said I wanted to. I would have loved to have been there, but I was like, no, it's a
nah,
little war. It's a war.
nah,
No, I'm
yeah,
good.
no, no.
No amount of
People shoot,
vibe. No
people
amount of
shooting,
vibes. Yeah,
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 people
I'm good.
shooting stuff. But I'm telling you, it like Get Rich or Die Trying is the soundtrack. Like you know how those Vietnam movies always have like Creedence Clearwater Revival playing in the background. Like we had 50 Cent, we had Bombs Over Baghdad. That was another one everybody
Oh
listened to. But
wow.
it was, bro, what a time to be alive, man. Yeah, you had to be there, as they say. You had to be there. Dark Movie said Beyblade are the thing. Remember trading, doing tournaments, and yeah, y'all have that over there, right? Yeah, I've heard of Beyblade. I've heard of Beyblades, but that wasn't as big as Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh. Like
Oh
that
yeah.
Beyblade was kind of like Beyblade was like more niche than Yu-Gi-Oh was, at least
Yep.
in my circles.
Yeah. Beyblade almost got arrested for shoplifting because of Beyblade.
Okay,
Hmm.
that sounds like a story, but
I mean, So basically, my mom bought me a brand new Beyblade. I was playing with it at the park, at the playground, actually.
mm,
Zoom, John spinning, spun right into the drain. I
oh,
had a friend who was a bad influence. Says, "Oh, we could just go to Kmart and like get another one, right?" I was like, "I don't have the money." He's like, "You don't need money." I was like, "Oh, okay, let's go." I, being the non-thug, non-anything self that I am, would just follow this dude to Kmart, and he grabbed it, went to the bathroom, was like, "Yo, hold this for me," or watch out watch out. I was just like looking around. I'm like, "All right,
mm.
I'll keep watching." And as soon as we walked towards the front door that opened up automatically, I felt a hand on my shoulder. I was like, "What's happening?"
The
So they got us, and
old security guard.
yep, I got out of it too because eventually they released us into his parents' custody. And
Hmm.
they kept asking me like the number for my parents, and I was like, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. And then eventually, I just left their house because their house wasn't that far from my house. So, and then it just never got brought up again. So that was it. But like I
That's
said, I was a
hilarious.
thug. You
I
know what
was
I'm
gonna say you
saying?
listen to Beanie right before
I was
you
listening
was just
to Siegel.
just getting hyped up. I was like, let's go do it.
My life could have turned out very different.
For Beyblade. You'd have went to juvie, and then next thing you know, you'd have really became a thug. You'd have went in there, you'd have lifted weights, you'd have got like huge, start knocking people out,
Yep.
and then the rest would have been history. 80s kid from the 90s, Yu-Gi-Oh is goaded.
Yes, it is.
See Sasquatch. Dark says Sasquatch Sunset. Why do I keep having a hard time saying that? Sasquatch Sunset is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. So yeah. See, Dark Movie say he still needs to catch up with X-Men 97, still on episode 6. You know what? You could actually just finish it after episode 5. Like no shade. that's the height of that show to me. Like, actually, episode 5 is the best episode of the season.
Yeah, I would
Before
say
it
so.
was okay, and then after it was okay, but episode 5
Yeah,
was amazing. Like, that
I
was a
thought.
movie in itself.
Yeah,
What were you gonna say?
no, I thought the season was great. I thought the only I don't even want to call it bad, but the only like episode was the Jubilee birthday episode. That was the only episode I was kind of like, nah.
Yeah,
But other than that, it was great.
I respect that. I thought it plateau. I thought it just couldn't reach anything higher than the Genosha episode. Genosha, great episode.
Yeah, it was a fantastic episode.
Let's see, we got dark movies. I have two friends that enjoy that movie a lot. Both of them is in this Discord. I appreciate that.
Nice, nice.
Oh, it's in the Discord. Yes. The Ace Avenue basketball shorts under them. No idea. Well, autocorrect. Yes. Yeah. Basketball. Like, I don't understand why we ever did that, but I definitely used to wear basketball shorts under my jeans, as if that made anything. And it didn't matter if it was summer or winter. Like,
Because you always had to be ready.
that is a fact, though.
If
Like,
if a basketball game broke out on the bus, you had to be ready.
bro. So I'm a hooper, like not a
Mhm.
great hooper, but I hoop. So
I'm
if,
not.
in New York City, if you are walking,
Mhm.
if I walk past a park and people are playing, I played in Tim's before. That's probably why I got bad feet. But I played in Tim's. I played in church shoes. I played
Tim's?
in yeah. Oh, that's a New York thing. Like, if you're
Yeah.
from New York and you haven't played in Tim's, then you're not a real hooper. Like, people in New York will play in anything. And generally, you're always wearing Timbs. Like, you're always wearing constructions. At least back in my day, back in the '90s, everybody had either beef and broccoli Timbs, which is the green and tan joints,
Mhm.
or the constructions, like, which is the tan Tim, that with the Timbs that everybody knows and loves. And most of them will wear them like with the laces super out, or they'll wear them like 2 sizes too big. Such a weird time to be alive. Like, just thinking about it now. Like, I had a pair of Timbs that was like a size 13, and I wear it 12. Like, there's absolutely no reason I need to be wearing a size 13 pair of Timbs. But that was the only size they had, so I got what they
We
had.
look insane out there.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dell. I just put part 1 and 2, but haven't watched them yet.
We're talking about Justice League.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, speaking of which, we should probably get to the rest of our disappointing
Yes.
list. Yeah.
Let's do it. Wait a minute. All right. Disappointments. Let me find my notes here. What do you have for your disappointment so far? We've already talked about the movies that are worse than Madam Web.
Yeah. So the movies I have as disappointments are movies that aren't just like they're just bad. They're movies I actually had expectations for that I didn't enjoy. So Bob Marley, One Love was a movie that I was so excited for that movie. It was so bland and so paint by numbers and did not cover like it covered some important parts of his life, but really it just covered one tour that he had in Europe, and he wasn't even in Jamaica for most of the movie. It didn't really cover his childhood at all and how he grew up. It didn't cover like how he came up with the songs that he sung. Didn't it didn't cover most of the most important points about him. And then I found out that they just flat out made some stuff up about the person who tried to assassinate him and him like coming back and apologizing to Bob Marley, which apparently never happened. So yeah, that one was a big disappointment for me. I was really excited for that movie. The second one I have is Civil War. Civil War was disappointing to me. I was really excited for that movie. I love the trailers and stuff like that, but it just did not deliver for me at all. Kung Fu Panda 4, I was hopeful, but I was definitely disappointed. The main crew was gone, and it was just like all you have is Poe and this new character who's not a bad character, but that movie was so bland. I just did not enjoy it. Ghostbusters, I really enjoyed Ghostbusters Afterlife. So going into Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, I was hoping that it would be good. It was not. That movie is awful. And then what I have last is Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earth Part 1 and 2 as disappointing. Because I'm always excited about a DC animated film, but those two were just awful. And especially if you're going to do such a huge DC event, you would expect it to be, good and for them to put their best foot forward, and they did not. So those are all my disappointments so far this year.
So we have quite a bit. Well, we got a few of the same ones. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is perhaps the big. So I rated Afterlife is my number 2 movie of the year it came out, and the only reason it was number 2 is because Everything Everywhere All at Once came out that same year. I loved Ghostbusters Afterlife. It reinvigorated the series. The ending scene, I was an absolute baby when when he showed up and he helped defeat. I was like, man, like, oh my god, like that got me because his son directed the movie. Like, so it was such it. Well, no, his son didn't direct the movie. Ivan Reitman, the guy who directed the first movie, his son directed this movie, but they were giving Harold Ramis, a proper send off, I guess you can say. And it was such a powerful scene at the very end of the movie. And I love what they did with Ernie Hudson. And I love what they did with him in Frozen Empire as well. But
I did too. I thought that was the highlight of the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. It was such a bad movie. Bill Murray showed up one day. He was probably drunk. And he just like, here I am. Give me my suit, and just walked on the set and just said things into the camera. Like it was a missed opportunity. It kind of set the franchise back. I don't think people are going to be so excited to go see the next one if there is the next one.
Yeah.
I really like the family dynamic though. Everything with Paul Rudd, the 2 kids, is fantastic. The mom, Carrie Coon, everything that they did was fantastic. It was just a terrible script, terrible villain, and the old Ghostbusters.
Way too much going on, basically. Is the problem with that movie. Way too many plot lines.
The ghost, the female ghost thing, that
relationship.
Weird. Like she was in there, of course, to come in at the end and do what she did, but I don't like to spoil movies. If you haven't seen Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, you might love it. There's some people who enjoyed it. It just wasn't a good Ghostbusters movie, I thought, compared to Afterlife. Afterlife was phenomenal. Afterlife was so well made.
I really enjoyed Afterlife.
Yeah. Another disappointment. The biggest disappointment, of course, is Zack Snyder Slow Mo Part 2.
Oh yeah.
That movie was so terrible.
Yeah.
Like,
it was bad.
I thought at least they would do it a little better than Part 1. I was like, Part 1 was bad, but it wasn't terrible. Part 2 was terrible. Like it went from being a bad movie that just needed some edge in order to kind of push it to okay. Yeah. And I thought Part 2 would have that edge because it was going to be a culminating event. It was going to culminate with like a big fight. And it did.
Yeah.
But I didn't care. Like,
oh my God.
At that point, I was just like,
when you don't care about what's happening in a movie, it doesn't matter if it's an hour and a half or 3 hours. It feels the same.
Yes.
It feels like forever and an eternity. And once the big fight scene started, I was like, oh, just end this movie. And it just kept going.
Yes. It was like more waves of people. And I was like, why are y'all still fighting? Just die. That's all
right. Just die is crazy.
Just die.
But
just die.
Yeah.
I thought more people would die in that movie too. Like I don't like battle movies like that where everybody lives. Like there has to be some type of stakes. Like
somebody gotta go.
One of them died.
Mm-hmm.
and I won't spoil who, but one of them died, and it was one of the dumbest deaths that I've ever seen. Like it was terrible.
Yeah.
It was poorly done.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible movie, and I'm not looking forward to the director's cut. I will not watch the
I'm
director's
not
cut.
watching it. I'm done. I'm done with that franchise.
And then the last movie, I have a few other movies at this point, but the last big disappointment of this year is Argyle. Some
Oh,
people
really?
liked Argyle.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't.
Okay.
And it also didn't make any money. Like it came,
It
nobody
flopped.
went and saw it.
Yeah.
It's doing well apparently on Apple Plus,
That's
but
nice.
that's besides the point. I did not. The only good thing about Argyle was, what is her name? Ron Howard, Bryce Dallas Howard,
Yeah.
and the mom jeans. That was literally the only thing I enjoyed about the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, like I love Sam Rockwell.
Yeah. He's good.
Great.
He's fun.
He's always good,
Yeah.
except in this movie. Like it was like he was just being himself with a poor script, and it just didn't do it for me. I was
Not
not a
at all.
fan. Not a fan at all.
Yeah.
And then I
Yeah.
do have
I'm
one more. Go ahead.
good. Mhm. I was gonna
You
say
say-
I enjoyed that movie
Mhm.
90% of it, and then towards the end when that thing happens, it just just goes it jumps the shark like entirely, and it was just not a great experience.
So if you shoot someone in a specific place,
Yo, let me tell you
and
something. Say it, because ain't
make
no
that
damn
make
way.
sense.
Ain't no way.
Make it. If I shoot you in like an artery next to your heart, like 2 inches from your heart, then you'll be able to stop the bleed. Like you do understand different bullets have different trajectories,
Right.
like different, like
But not even like surviving. Fully functional
yes.
after you got shot through the chest.
It was like he just put like a band-aid or something on it. It was like,
Right.
let's go
Yeah.
fight people. And they had like they battled like 50 something guards after that. I was like,
Yeah. Like it's not like he woke up in the hospital. I'm so glad I survived. He went and fought a whole like submarine or a whole boat full of people 5 minutes later. Like it was crazy. Like, yeah, I'm all right.
oh my God. Ugh. Terrible. Like I did not enjoy that movie. There's some people who enjoyed it, and it was enjoyable for what it was worth, but
Mm-hmm.
not for me. Like it just didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I didn't have Rebel Moon on my list because I wasn't expecting anything from it, so it didn't disappoint me. But I guess it disappointed me in the fact that it confirmed what I believed about it. Because I would have liked to have been pleasantly surprised, but I was not.
I think I was hoping to be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
And my last big disappointment is I enjoyed Jenny Ortega, right? In Scream. I watched Miller's Girl, and
I've
that was the most
heard.
disturbing movie that I think, one, being a father of a girl, of a young daughter, that movie disturbed me on so many different levels. Jenny Ortega, very attractive young woman. I will never look at her the same after, like, because she's playing a high school girl. And, like, I get it. Like, I don't get it. Like, I'll just say that. Just
Gotcha.
the whole premise of the movie, this teacher-student relationship, that's highly inappropriate. But the two teachers, Martin Freeman, and there's this black football coach who's like his best friend, and they just disgust me this entire movie. Like they were just these two old creepy men who just hit on the students. And then in my mind, I'm like, where the hell is everybody else in faculty? Like it was a very low budget movie, but like nobody else, like the girls would show up to their classroom like early in the day and nobody else would walk by. Like they would just be in the classroom, like flirting with these two full adult, like in their 40s, like adults.
They had no money for extras?
I don't think they did because I noticed it after watching the movie. It was like nobody else, like there was so many things happening in and around this private school, or it might have been a public school. I don't even know. there were like scenes where like people were coming out of classes, but like during those scenes where they were like doing these highly with the doors open, by the way, like just highly inappropriate, like being just too close to a teacher. And I was like, in what world is this
Yeah.
okay? Like, and I mean, just it repulsed me. Like I
Mhm.
like being the father of a young girl. It just like, and I just don't subscribe to the R. Kelly train of thought. Like I don't
No,
think that
you
that's
probably
cool.
shouldn't. Yeah.
Like I don't. That's like one thing that I just don't find. And even though I do find Jenny Ortega to be attractive, like
Mhm.
after that, I just see her as a little girl now. Like, and I can't see her any other way because the movie repulsed me that much. It was movie made, I feel like, in bad taste. I understand it was trying to tell a message, but the message got misconstrued with how they
Mm,
sexualized this young girl.
yeah.
And it just, yeah, it just wasn't for me. It didn't work for me at all. So that was a big disappointment for me because I was actually looking forward to it. Like, because I saw trailers and I heard like good things. Like people were like, "Oh, Miller's Girls," you know, and maybe it's just horny teenagers who thought it was a good movie.
Mhm.
And I get that because they're more her age, but I just found it to be extremely odd. It was a very odd movie the way they structured these two adult men
Yeah.
to be like predators, and nobody just at any point thought like his wife, like he talked to his wife about it. She was really weird about it to where she like it's a weird movie. I'm done talking about it. I get upset
Okay.
just thinking
I
about
hear
just
you.
the way the movie kind of played out. It was made
Mhm.
by I don't even know who made it, but I don't want to watch anything they ever make again. That's how bad the movie was to me.
Mhm.
But we're gonna get to a few comments, then we're gonna jump to our top 10 because we got a lot of comments and I'm really impressed. And I
Sounds good.
appreciate every single comment y'all have. But I definitely want to get to our top 10 because we've been going for quite a bit now. All right, let's see. Um, where do we end? Let's see. We got Dark Movies. Say I saw the trailer for Crank and Crank 2, and this is not a studio movie, right? Where's the color corrections and stuff like that? I can't remember who produced Crank 1 and Crank 2. They weren't big budget movies. It was a small indie, like it was a small movie studio that did them.
Mm.
But they was shot in a totally different style. Like they don't look like anything you've ever seen before. So I can see that from the trailers that could throw you off. Crank movies were a blast. I really enjoyed them. So a scene in the horse race that once you see the scene in the horse race, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's wild. That's all I'll say.
Nice.
80s kid from 90s, you know they're gonna pull the heartstrings when D16 becomes Megatron. Nope, that is not gonna pull my heartstrings at all. It's probably gonna make me upset. Like because he becomes Megatron. He's gonna become Megatron.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
like I don't know. It won't
Yeah.
be as powerful as when Ricky got shot. I could tell you that much. 80s kid from 90, D&D was all right. It was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. It was a
I
very
enjoyed it
fun
too.
movie to me. Really like definitely a fun movie. Dark movie. Say he was talking about Fall Guy. Love that movie. I'm just disappointed
I'm a big
they
fan of Fall
didn't do
Guy.
better. The Ace Avenue. I just went back and watched. Appreciate the shout out. You guys are the best. No, you are the best Ace.
No, yeah,
Like
exactly what he said.
you really are, man. You really are. 80s kid from 90s say he sent his dad a hilarious Father's Day card. That's awesome, man. That's
That's what's
all
up.
us dads really care about. It's just something to let us know that we did okay job.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Movie said, oh, really? It's Father's Day for y'all tomorrow. Happy Father's Day then. Our Father's Day is on November 10th. That is like, there's a holiday November 10th or November 11th. Is that Veterans Day? That is most certainly Veterans Day.
Mm.
And I should know that.
Yeah, Mother's Day is May.
That was May 13th this year or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah.
around that time.
Mm-hmm. And Father's Day is, I think, just the third weekend in June. Or
In June.
I know Father's Day is always the week after my birthday.
Awesome. Oh yeah, happy belated birthday, man.
Thank you.
We were on your stream and everybody just started. Yeah, you did do a stream on your birthday, didn't you?
No, I was sick. I was dying in the streets or in my room, but I was dying for sure.
Or did we watch that movie? I know I said happy birthday to you one
No,
time.
yeah, you guys said happy birthday for sure. I just don't think I didn't do a stream or anything like that.
Okay.
I wish I did.
I could dig it.
I was sick.
I feel you. We were talking about.
By the way, that's
Near
why my
death.
Bad Boys review looks the way it does, because I was sick and I just started just doing stuff. So that review does not look like my normal review. I literally just used every animation I could find in CapCut and was like, here, you guys enjoy this. I got bunny ears on at one point. It's crazy.
I'm gonna have to go back since I didn't do because I hold off on watching reviews until I do mine.
Yeah,
Since I
typically I do too.
Review, I'm gonna go and watch everybody's Bad Boy review because everybody's gonna be saying the same thing. It was awesome.
Yeah.
CJ Pollen said good deal. 80s kid. J Pollen with Texas Roadhouse for my pops. I love Texas Roadhouse, by the way.
I've been a couple times. I need to revisit at some point.
80s kid said Stanton directed Nemo and Wally. Great movies. Wally should not have been as good as it was, but that was
great.
Really good movie. 80s kid said Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yes, sir. That's the weapon of the hood.
Man, you know what? I'm gonna think about that 10 years from now. I'm gonna just reach out to you and be like, yo, you a real thug, man. That's what I'm talking about.
And that's what I was looking. That's what I was trying to achieve.
CC Clemens. Hey,
CC.
guys. Definitely thank you for stopping by. I wish I could have joined, but currently seated for Inside Out. Most definitely will catch the playback. I tried to get CC for this stream because I wanted a woman's perspective on the movies that she's enjoyed. We'll definitely we'll do something in the future. For sure.
CC's dope.
For sure. Very, very dope creator. If you're not subscribed to CC Clemens, definitely go subscribe to her channel. Everybody subscribe to each other's channel. I think we all subscribed here already. But if you're not subscribed to somebody, definitely check out their channel, subscribe to them. 80s Kid said, hey, CC. And then Dell on Movie said, I used to love those mixtapes, man.
Yeah, man.
They were on it.
Where is that?
Dark Movie said, oh my God, haha, what am I listening to? Let's see, them names definitely fit for that contest. Beyblade used to be so rad in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I have not heard anybody use the word rad in a very long time.
I remember my friend got upset with me because I was with him the moment, or he was with me, rather, I should say, the moment I realized that rad was short for radical. He was like, what do you mean you don't know that? I was like, I just put it together. Because I was literally with him. I was like, yo, I think rad is short for radical. This was literally like 2 years ago, by the way. It was like, what are you talking about? How did you not know that? I was like, well, yeah, I don't be going around thinking about radical.
I thought you were going to say this. I thought you were going to say this when you were like 8.
No, this was like 2 years ago. Had no idea. Figured it out on a whim.
I respect that.
I think a wrestler.
So much about you.
I think it was a wrestler who was wearing something that said "rad" or something like that. I forget, but something happened. Someone was wearing a shirt that said "rad." I was like, "Oh, radical." Got
it. This is why I asked you to do this stream because you are the best. I love it, man. I love it. I'm learning so much about you.
I enjoy being here.
Growing my respect for you.
I
don't want to say the wrong thing because you are a thug, man. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
I mean, just watch your step. But no, but you're a literal soldier. So what am I going to do?
I don't know. If you throw Beanie Siegel on anything, all bets are off, man. Like,
right?
Who knows?
It's like a superpower.
It is. It is.
Dipset.
In my mind, I keep hearing the truth playing in the back of my mind, like just seeing it, like man, Beanie
Santana,
Siegel's
dip.
he's a whole other person. You know what? I'm from Harlem. I rock with the set, but after that locks,
Oh
after the
my
locks
God, they got destroyed.
versus, my feelings were hurt, man. I
Jadakiss
still rock with the
destroyed
set
them
though,
by himself.
by himself.
That was crazy.
I mean, I fuck with the locks. Like the locks actually are like
Oh yeah,
part of
nice.
part part of me because they know a lot of people. Like a lot of people I know. Like one of the producers of a lot of the lock songs I grew up with. So
yeah,
like I know, like I've seen them. I don't know them. Like I'm not that dude, but like yeah. So I was torn, but I wanted Harlem to like get some love, and boy, we were looking bad that day. We were looking bad that day. A Dark Movie said, hell yeah. 80s kid from the 90s. Jay said, nice CC. And I'm really looking
CC's
forward
gonna
to
have
hearing,
a blast with that movie.
I know. Like I'm looking forward to seeing everybody's review of Inside Out too, because everything that I've heard, especially you saying it's better than part one, that sells me on it for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it and seeing everybody's review. Just seeing something that's universally liked makes me happy.
Same.
Really makes me happy. Dark Movie said, whoop, whoop, that's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop, that's the sound of the beast. Whoop, whoop. Man, KRS-One, classic.
Yeah. Classic official.
You know what? The fact that he knows that in Norway just shows how dope hip-hop is.
Yep.
80s kids from 90. What Star Wars movies are you looking forward to the most? 80s kid from the 90s. I don't want to offend you. I know you take Star Wars very personal, but I'm not looking forward to any Star Wars movies. That's just me. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. I am looking forward to the Mandalorian movie, so I guess I will go with Dave Filoni's. But okay. I don't remember what James Mangold is doing.
I think he's doing a Rey movie. I think they're supposed. I'm assuming.
I know Rey has a movie coming out. I didn't know he was the one who was doing it.
That's the only movie. That's the only Star Wars property I know, other than Mandalorian and Grogu. That's like been somewhat talked about. I could be totally wrong. But yeah, let me know if I'm wrong. I'm just kind of I'm over Star Wars at this point. I really am. It hasn't done anything ever since the second season of Mandalorian. Yeah, I haven't really enjoyed too much of the Star Wars content.
It's kind of fallen off since then. I did enjoy Ahsoka, but not like I don't. It's not a show I absolutely love, but I definitely enjoyed my time with it.
See, Dello Movies gets it. As a kid in New York, I played ball outside in 35-degree weather, wearing boots and a heavy coat. Sorry, I pressed the wrong one. 35 wearing boots and a heavy coat, getting buckets is more important than health. Bro,
100%.
Bro, there were days where it was cold outside and I had asthma as a kid. Like I used to, and my mom's like, yo, why do you not? Because I would take my jacket off though. I can't shoot with a coat on. So I'll be outside in freezing weather, no jacket on, just a t-shirt or long sleeve or thermal in Tim's, putting in work because you got to get them buckets. Getting buckets is more important than health because I almost died.
True. I've definitely seen pickup games with just dudes in thermals and some jeans just out there. Like the cold air, like the coming from the breath, like it definitely in a beanie and some gloves. I saw one dude wear gloves, like not the good gloves, like the corner store gloves that are just like some kind of wool material. Like
yeah. Bro, like what's my man's name in like Leon and Above the Rim? Like just playing pickup game with a he just jumped in the tournament with a thermal and some slacks. Like, come on, man. Like, hey, you get it how you get it. Like
I can see like like a pickup game, not a tournament. Like you wild right
He
now.
walked out there like doing that same Leon walk was like, I'm about to give y'all work. And he definitely did. He got in here with some slack. I don't remember what kind of shoes he had on, but that joker had the thermal on, the slacks, and
Mhm.
it just went to work. Was just raining threes on him. I love that movie so much.
Yeah.
Oh man. Fun fact. They shot above the rim at the courts on 100. They shot parts of it on the courts on 135th in Harlem, and they lowered the rims just so the actors could dunk, like so they could get all them bouncing dunks. And
Mhm.
for sure, me as a kid, I was in there punching on everybody on low rims. I was like, I was trying to
Not
jam it on
posterize people.
anybody. Yeah, I was trying to kill it because I could definitely, I could barely, I could like put my tip my fingers on on a regular size rim, but when they lowered them, they lowered the rims like 9 or 10 feet, and
Mhm.
it was like a field day. Everybody was punching in the 131st Street Park. I think eventually they finally put them back up there for like a year after they filmed that movie. They kept them rims low, and everybody would just dunk. Everybody would just go there just to dunk on people. What a time! Good times. Dark movie says his three of my biggest disappointments: Argyle, Civil War, and Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. You know what?
I heard
I
that.
actually enjoy Civil War. I was more glad that they didn't make Civil War into like this political statement than
Mhm.
anything else. That was my biggest fear going into that it was going to be such a polarizing movie that Americans were going to like actually start a civil war. like
Oh no.
like that was actually a healthy fear of mine, because if you lived in this country, you know we're teetering, as they
Yeah.
say, every day. And I thought this movie would kind of push it, it would trigger it a little bit faster.
Mhm.
But yeah, glad it didn't do that.
Yeah.
Really glad it didn't do that. Let's see. I enjoyed One Love, but it wasn't great. I did not
Yeah.
see
That's
it.
okay.
I just chose to stay away from it because I heard bad things.
Mhm.
Let's see. Frozen Empire was my biggest disappointment. It really was. It was a bad
It was.
movie.
Yeah. It was disappointing.
Read the whole thing with Ghost and then the plot lines. Yeah, nah, it was painful. It was.
It was.
It was. We got Rebel Moon. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that movie. You're right. And with that, let's just go ahead and jump into our top 10
Okay.
because we have been on for a minute. All right. So you know what? Go ahead and give me your 10 through 7.
Okay. So we're going backwards. Got you.
Yeah, we'll go. Yeah.
Let me just pull up my letterbox list real quick. I had it, and then I think I went to something else. All right. So here we go. 10 through 7. Monkey
Mhm.
Man is at 10. Hitman is at 9. Love Lies Bleeding is at 8. And Furiosa is at 7.
Hmm. That's a good one. So I'm trying to think why is Love Lies Bleeding so high for you?
Oh, I absolutely love that movie. So Love Lies Bleeding, like obviously I'm a fan of A24 films. That doesn't give them an automatic boost, but I just really enjoyed the story that they told. Like I really liked how um, they developed both of the characters, both of the two main characters, and they did it in a short. And that's what I miss about a lot of movies. A lot of movies don't
Mhm.
do this thing well, where they introduce you to some new complex characters, fully flesh them out, and then tell a story with them by the end of it. I know that's every movie ever, but a lot of movies these days just aren't doing that well enough. Like I feel like
Mhm.
after the first 20 minutes of the movie, I fully understood who these people were, and then I love the murder mystery part of it. Like every instance of like trying to figure out like who like where they were hiding the bodies, the cavern. Her dad, Ed Harris, was insane.
Yeah.
You like and like the bodybuilding aspect of it. I love like the sound effects that they use on the muscles, like when they flex and stuff like that. like and all that kind of stuff because it kind of the sound effects wasn't just like for the muscles flexing, but also for like it it communicated like the type of stretching and like the stress that the situation had. Oh, absolutely love the scenes where she takes out the abusive husband.
Boy,
That
that was insane.
that was wild. So and then hiding bodies in carpets and stuff like that. Yeah, and then at the bodybuilding competition, how that went down. Like there's so many great scenes in this movie. And
Mhm.
then they did the great thing that A24 does, which is go full A24 in the last couple scenes when somebody essentially hulked out. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And I realized what it was. So it was like, yo, this is the full A24 experience. So I absolutely love that movie. That movie was great. I actually might move that movie up now that I'm talking about it. Because I have Furiosa ahead of it, and I'm kind of like, you might be going further than that.
Might be going further down. I don't have Love Lies Bleeding that high,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's not because it's not a great movie because I thoroughly enjoyed it. The ending, yes, it went full A24. I kept thinking of Midsummer. I like at the end
Mm-hmm.
of that movie it went like full batshit crazy,
Yeah.
and I was like, man, this movie went that way for the style of movie it was trying to be. Like each
Yep.
movie has like it just goes off the rails, but it's all consistent of what the rest of the movie was doing. It like
Mm-hmm.
builds into the insanity, and
Yeah.
that's one thing I love. Like I just love how A24 and I don't know A24 personally, but I feel like I do. Um, I just love how they allow filmmakers to make their vision, right?
Yeah.
No matter if I think it's good, no matter if you think it's good, if the filmmaker wants to make a vision of something, they allow them to do that. It doesn't feel like anybody has any restrictions. I watched the movie Men, and nobody had any restrictions in that movie because it went
Zero
that
restrictions.
completely a different way. But it allows you to do that, and then let the audience decide whether they like it or not.
Yep.
Right? That they let the audience decide if that's what is for them because they just have a vision, they create the vision, they put it out there, and they allow you to, you know,
Mm-hmm.
enjoy it, and they allow you to ingest their vision.
Yeah. And then there's one other character I need to mention, which is Daisy, the girl with the teeth.
Oh my god, those teeth.
I want
Yes.
her. I wanted her off my screen so bad, but not in the way that she ended up getting off the screen. But man,
Yeah.
I just did not want to see her again. But she was great. Like the actress that portrayed her was great too. So yeah, great movie. I really enjoyed that
I definitely enjoyed that movie. And I'm glad you gave a very good synopsis of that movie. So if you haven't
movie.
seen Love Lies Bleeding, definitely check that out. So I'll start with my 10 through 7. My number
Mm-hmm.
10 movie is Greatest Hits, which
Okay.
is the Hulu original movie. It really was something different. It was I love time travel movies about time,
Mm-hmm.
time traveler's wife, like those type of romance time, Back to the Future, like all of
Mm-hmm.
those time travel movies. I enjoy that. Uh, so this movie was no different. It kind of hit the same beats as those other movies too, but it told it from a different musical perspective. Sometimes I think about Dying is a movie that
Mm.
I think 10 years that from now people will finally have seen and they're gonna enjoy it. It's a very niche movie. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But it definitely was one of my movies. Number what am I at? Number 8, Monkey Man. Love that
Hey.
movie. Um, Dev Patel made something unique, something uniquely him. It dealt with Indian culture, it dealt with the LBGT community, which I thought was very unique. What they did, it dealt with religion.
I love
And
that. Yeah.
yes, it dealt with so many different things, and then they just kicked ass because
Yep.
boy, it was some fist pounding fights, and it was intense. Dev Patel put together a great performance. I thought he was phenomenal in that movie. Like
Yeah.
his character, very understated. Like he didn't talk that much. He
Mm-hmm.
wasn't the mouthy. He wasn't the wisecracking guy. But like you felt every emotion that he felt because of Dev Patel's performance. I thought he
Yeah.
did phenomenally in that movie, and the fact that he directed it too, he kind of got it greenlit. He got Jordan Peele behind it, which really helped push it to a different stratosphere. As far as because I was told it was supposed to be a Netflix movie, but,
Really?
but Jordan Peele saw it and was like, "This needs to go in theaters," and that's dope.
That is
It
dope.
would have done well as a Netflix movie as well, but the fact that it got released in wide release, and it made pretty good money too, I think, for its budget, because they made
Mhm.
this movie for like 10, $10 million, $15 million.
Yeah.
So it definitely did well. And then my number seven, Mean Girls. I
Nice.
really enjoyed it. I had such
Nice.
a good time with that movie. Enjoyed the first one.
Hmm.
Uh, Classic Lindsay Lohan, and the crew. I enjoyed that movie a lot, but I enjoyed the musical aspect of this one. It, like I said, it was fun without being too annoying. Like
Yeah.
the music didn't annoy me like a lot of musicals do. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump from your seven to go for all the way from 7 to 4, because then we'll talk about our top threes.
Okay. So I said seven. This is Furiosa.
Oh yeah.
Um,
6 to 4.
so yeah, Furiosa was great. Had a great time with it in the theater the second time I saw it. Because the first time I fell asleep, and it was had nothing to do with the movie. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It might get switched out for Love Live Bleeding, but this movie I thought the action was great. I thought Anya Taylor Joy was phenomenal in this film. Chris Hemsworth stole the show as all the different versions of the Mentis that he played. And I thought one of the things I really give this movie credit for is it's very hard to make a desert like entertaining and like
Mhm.
interesting. And George Miller once again found a way to do that. So yeah, that's my number seven. Number six is Turtles All the Way Down. Turtles All the Way Down is on HBO Max right now. It's about a young lady who has like extreme OCD. Like she's a she's a germaphobe, like but to the nth degree. So because of that, she has a hard time forming relationships. She also like has some trauma from losing her father. So there's a lot of different situations where she's dealing with um, like trying to foster these relationships, but at the same time, the relationship that she has with her best friend is strained because her best friend is also going through things in her life. But because her friend is neurodivergent, like it puts a strain on that relationship because it's like there's a scene in the movie where it's like you like I understand that you have like all these mental health issues and stuff like that, but whenever I ask you about like you never ask me about me. Like the only person that you talk about when we get together is you and what you're going through. Do you even know the name of my cat? It's like no, I've had that cat since we were 7 years old. They're teenagers now, right? And it's like there's all this stuff about like, hey, I understand that you have these issues, but you're not the only person who's around, right? So that's my number six. Number five, as of right now, I have Society of the Snow, which is a phenomenal movie. Essentially, it's a true story about a high school, I believe a high school or college, no, I believe college soccer team. I believe it's a soccer team
Mhm.
who's traveling
Yeah.
to a tournament and their plane crashes in like the mountains, very snowy mountains and stuff like that. It's not the Arctic or anything weird like that, but it's a French movie. I believe it's a French movie. I haven't seen
Mhm.
it since I've seen it. Um, and essentially, it's basically like 0 degree weather out there. They're trying to survive. They resort to some dietary things that you may not want to be a part of.
Yeah.
Whenever dealing with people that you're trapped with no food. So some things come on the menu that you wouldn't expect, and they're just trying to survive in that situation. And number four, I have Origin. Origins, directed by Ava DuVernay, stars Anjanou Ellis, as well as John Bernthal, and I cannot believe I'm forgetting her name. But as a matter of fact, it's Letterbox. There's a cast list. And oh, there it is. and Niecy Nash Betts.
Mm.
All three of them are in it, and it's a phenomenal story about the woman who actually wrote about how the Trayvon Martin murder was, yes, in some ways motivated by racism, but was really motivated by this thing called the caste system, which is this idea that if you keep a certain demographic of people down, you're able to control that demographic, and you also convince other people that this demographic of people are not worthy of life or respect, essentially. And how the idea of the caste system came from Jim Crow laws, and was actually the Jim Crow laws were the basis of the laws that Nazi Germany came up with to, like, essentially exterminate the Jews, and how that same Jim Crow laws was the basis of what happens in Indian countries, with the Dalits, and how they have a segment of people who are just beneath everyone, so much so that they are the people who are essentially tasked with cleaning out latrines with their bare hands, of people who are considered to be a higher class than them, and how
Mhm.
George Zimmerman essentially is not a white person. So why does he feel the need to protect a mainly white neighborhood? It's because of this idea that's perpetuated that black people in this country are in some way, shape, or form the lower class, right? And all that comes from this idea of the caste system. It's a phenomenal movie, but it also deals with the author's real life. Or she wrote the book. The book is actually a real book. Um,
Mhm.
she wrote the book on the caste system, but it also deals with her own personal tragedies that she was going through while writing this book. So I thought the movie was excellent, and yeah, it's definitely worthy to be number 4 on my list.
Okay, I definitely can see that. So let go through my 6 through 4. We got Hitman. I really enjoyed that.
Hitman was great.
Uh Number 5, Boy Kills World. A lot of people didn't like that movie. I
Hmm.
absolutely love that movie only because of the action. I'm a big action guy.
Yeah,
Raid Redemption. The final fight in Boy Kills World is almost the exact same final fight that they had in Raid Redemption, with the
yeah,
exact
it's a
same
great
guy,
fight.
which I thought was phenomenal. Um, and just that movie just did it for me. It checked all my boxes when it comes to action comedies and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Number 4, I have Book of Clarence. That got bumped down a few spots. I so thoroughly enjoyed Book of Clarence. It's not what everyone thought it was gonna be, and it just turned out to be something special for me. I thought Lakeith Stansfield put together a performance of a lifetime as Clarence, and the supporting cast, the music, James Samuels, not to be confused with Kevin Samuels. Uh, he directed that movie and he did all of the music.
Hmm.
Just great director and just great cast, and it was a uniquely black story that was just done right. I thought
Yeah.
it definitely doesn't get talked about. Like it came out in January. I think it came out last year in like limited release as well.
Hmm.
But it came out wide release in January, and it kind of just came and went. A lot of it because of the themes, the religious themes, a lot of the church said it was blasphemous, so don't go see that movie. And I think that hurt it. It I don't think it hurt. I know it hurt that movie as far as people actually seeing it, but it was the opposite of that. It was actually a story of faith, of
Yeah.
someone finding their faith, and it's just definitely worth a watch. I don't think that you would lose anything from watching this movie because it's just a phenomenal movie with a phenomenal cast. It does have some, the ending of it is very unique, but at the same time, I love
Definitely.
it because it was something different, something that we haven't seen before. It's definitely something worth watching. And James McAvoy was incredible. Like he showed up towards the end, and I thought he was fantastic. I thought like I wish his character would have been in more of the movie.
Yeah.
Same thing with Benedict Cumberbatch. I wish his character would have been in more of the movie because he was
Hmm.
fantastic.
Yeah.
He was, but you just didn't know. Like, but it was a great movie.
Yeah,
What they did in
I
that
really
movie was just
enjoyed
phenomenal.
Boogie Clarence. Yeah.
All right, let's get to the top three, and then I will close with trying to get through some of these comments because I know people have their top tens in the comments.
Hmm.
But yeah, what are your top three movies of the year?
At number three, I have Challengers. Challengers is a movie that I absolutely love. Like Challengers, starring Zendaya. I often forget how to pronounce her name. Challengers starring
Mhm.
Zendaya is essentially just one large tennis match of life, right? She essentially has a relationship with differing relationships with two gentlemen who are still vying for her love throughout over the course of like 10 between somewhere between 10 and 20 years of them
Mhm.
trying to like figure each other out, and I really like just enjoyed the direction of it for sure. I love some of the camera shots that they got, the camera being in the tennis ball or at least made to look like it was in a tennis ball. Like all the tennis matches looked incredible. Also the performances were amazing as well. The movie isn't as sexually charged as, well, I should say the movie isn't as sexually explicit as the trailers made it out to be, because the trailers made it like you about to come and watch some sex go down, and that's not the movie at all.
Yeah,
Which is,
yeah, it
yeah,
wasn't.
so really weird market. There's been a lot of weird marketing this year. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so challengers like, but at the same time, like there's a lot of um intricacies in the movie that I really enjoyed. One of the things I find the most interesting is that there are no good guys in this movie. Everybody's awful to one another, and I found that to be quite refreshing, because it's not like, oh, it's all this one person's fault. If you watch the movie, you can pinpoint each and every person being absolutely diabolical towards the other person. Right. So
Mhm.
it's this movie about obsession and all this other stuff. So yeah, Challengers is a movie I thoroughly enjoyed. Um, Number two is actually a two itself. Is Inside Out two. Actually, two and one are twos. Inside Out two
Mhm.
is my number two. Inside Out two is great. It's exploration, and I won't spoil it, or yeah, I won't spoil it at all, or get into detail like I got into like with Challengers. But I will say that it's exploration of the idea of anxiety was, I'm trying to find some words that aren't like too hyperbolic, but it
Mhm.
was touching for me, essentially. Like
Mhm.
it really put into perspective what anxiety looks like, what a panic attack will look like, as well
Mhm.
as what makes up your sense of self, like how you think and feel about yourself and the things that develop that. And like I was saying before, Pixar is not for children. Pixar is is made to appease kids with bright colors and stuff like that, but it's also made to sit grown adults down and tell them about themselves, and help them explore themselves. And I really enjoyed that about this movie. So yeah, Inside Out 2 is my number two. Number one is also number two, which is Dune Part Two, which is a movie I found to be absolutely phenomenal. Like Dune Part Two, they did such a great job of taking the building blocks that they built off of, that they created in Dune Part One, which honestly to me isn't nearly as enjoyable as Dune Part Two.
Yeah.
Even though it is enjoyable, it's just Dune Part Two is way better. Um, and they create these factions, they create these characters that are super interesting and intricate, especially when you're talking about the Bene Gesserit, you're talking about the Fremen, you're talking about the Harkonnen, like Fade Rafa, like the new main bad villain who Austin Butler plays,
Mhm.
is my favorite new character of this year. I think before Anxiety from Inside Out 2 came out. And I just found the movie to be very engaging. And yeah, it was a really good time. Timothy Chalamet and once again Zendaya is in my top two movies of the year. As also a lead, she's incredible, as is what is that boy's name?
Timothy Chalamet.
Timothy Chalamet, yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, and then we got so many great memes from from that movie. Hassan Al Ghalib, like all that stuff, like that has been great. And yeah, love that movie. That movie's phenomenal, and I don't really see anything kind of like surpassing that. I think it's like kind of cemented. Although I really did think long and hard about putting Inside Out 2 above it, and it might end up above it at some point. I don't know, but as of right now, that's my top three. Doom Part One is Doom Part Two is number one. Inside Out 2 is number two, and Challengers is number three.
Great list. That is a good list of movies. I've seen Challengers. Think that was like around 15 or 16 for me.
Mm-hmm.
My top three, very unique top three. So as I do my letterbox, right?
Mm-hmm.
I realized midway through, like Doom Part One, Doom Part Two, when it came out, I was like, oh, this is my number one movie because I felt like it was a near perfect movie.
Yeah.
Film, just expert cast, great performances, great sound effects, great sound editing, great visual effects, great practical effects. Near perfect movie. That movie is my number two movie of the year so far. My number three movie of the year so far, recency bias, Bad Boys Ride or Die. I absolutely love that movie. Like it's so much fun. Like I go to the movies to feel something. I'm the overly emotional movie reviewer because I feel things as I watch movies. If I don't feel it, then I don't enjoy it. Not saying I didn't feel, anything for Dune 2. It was a perfect movie, but it wasn't my perfect movie. My perfect movie of the year was The Fall Guy. So much fun. Like I enjoyed that movie on so many different levels. Love romantic comedies. It had this great chemistry between Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling. He was such this goofy character who was like such a cool guy, but at the same time, he was an absolute goof, which made it great. It had Winston Duke, who's fantastic as the best friend. He is. What's the guy's name? Quicksilver. Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's fantastic as like the slimy movie actor. The slimy movie actor. It has a great cast. It feels fun. Like it felt like I left the theater excited because I just watched something that I enjoyed. It checked all of my boxes. That's why it's number one for me. Is it a better movie technically and theoretically than Dune 2? Probably not. But for me, like my personal taste, my personal opinion, it's just nothing better than it to me, and Bad Boys Ride or Die, is that the third best movie of the year? Probably not, but at the same time, I had a blast in the theater. So did everybody else.
The only thing that matters is if it's the third best movie to you. Like that's the only thing that matters.
Exactly. Yeah. And of course, it's all for debate. If you're watching this live, definitely throw down your top 10. And you can leave comments and say that my top 10 is crazy, or you can say Kenny's top 10 is crazy. I can promise you we don't care.
That's for sure.
It's our top 10. Definitely everyone has their own opinions of what's in their top 10. And we definitely want to hear it because we're going to continue to hear this, especially at the end of the year. After Wolverine and Deadpool come out, everybody's top 10 probably is going to change. Or it might not. The movie might be one of the biggest disappointments of the year. I doubt it. But it is possible. I project that movie to make $1 billion, but that doesn't mean it's actually a good movie. It doesn't mean it's a great movie. So yeah.
I didn't expect Inside Out to be anywhere near the top 10. And it's number 2.
After watching part 1, I would hope, but you never know. Right. You never, especially with a part 2 of anything, it could either go one way. It could either be way better than the first, or it could just be way worse than the first. It's really hard to tell.
Yeah.
But we're going to jump through a few more of these comments because I know your time is valuable and I don't want to keep you here all day. We've been here quite a bit. So right now we're at 2 hours and 43 minutes. What time? That means that we're at 4:44. By 5 o'clock, I would like to be done with this. At least it was 5 o'clock for me. That's 7 o'clock for you.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead. If you got the time, if you got a jet, just let me know. But let's go ahead and Della
I
movie
will be
say like
right back. I gotta
okay.
go grab. I gotta go grab something. I will be right back.
All right, fantastic. All right, so Della movie said he liked Rebel Moon 2 better than the first one, but they're both bad. You are not wrong. Um, Dark movies said never fall asleep during movies, but wow, yeah, guys know what happened. Yeah, you guys know what happened. Oh yeah, we I remember watching Rebel Moon with you, part two, on Discord, and you would one. It was probably like 6 a.m. for you, and the movie was super boring. You woke up and it was like, what the heck is going on? Oh, wait, I'm watching Rebel Moon. Yeah. Yeah. I think you woke up during the last battle and then went back to sleep because the last battle was terrible. Uh, Dark Moon says you don't remember anything about both Rebel Moons. I honestly don't remember anything about the first one. As I was watching the second one, I was really confused because the first one, I cared so little about the characters that I didn't remember anything about their backstories. Dark Movie say you refuse to watch the director's cut. Nope, because then they'll think that's okay. They'll think it's okay to put out a half movie, and the half movie is terrible, and then we're gonna just clamor to a director's cut. Uh, that's not okay. So I think, not saying you need to boycott, but if you didn't like those first two, don't watch the director's cut because I don't think it's gonna get any better. Dark movies. So I mean, yeah, that doesn't make sense. But don't y'all remember how ice skated on oil? Man. Oh, they ice skated on oil. Yeah, Argyle was a mess. Like, Argyle was so wild. Like, that whole scene just was crazy. Like, you that whole scene was nuts. Yeah, it's probably people like me. Yeah, I mean, Cough Miller's Girl isn't good, though. Yeah, Miller's Girl, I mean, the young male gaze is a thing, but I'm an old male and I shouldn't be gazing at teenagers like that. Dello Movie says, I'm a teacher and I have daughters. The clip of Miller Girl on Netflix made me uncomfortable. My own daughter is curious about it. She's an adult, so I might wind up seeing it. Thanks for the warning. Dello Movie, seriously, as a dad with a girl, and as a teacher, I know you're gonna find it disturbing. It was I just found it deeply disturbing how their interactions were, and like inappropriate is like an understatement. And it just kind of went unchecked. It just like people allowed it to happen, and it was just weird how the movie played out. Underrated album, Wu Black, a collab between Wu. Oh my God, you are not lying. That album was fire. Like that album. Oh my God, that was such a dope album that nobody's ever talked about. You're the first person who's ever actually mentioned that album outside of people I know from back home. Like Wu Tang and the Locks. One, Ghostface always does good collabs with Raekwon and uh Method Man and Redman. Like Ghostface always does good collabs with Red. Ghostface always did good collabs with what's my man's name? Why am I Sheik? Not Sheik, Styles P. Styles P. Ghostface and Styles P had a few dope joints. But that album itself was insane. Like that was that was a dope album. And you're literally the first person who's ever mentioned that album since I bought it, and I talked to a few people back home about it. Dark Movies says kind of same thing here. I used to play football all the time with my friends in the same in some basketball games. But if I had a jacket on, I can't play. And it was basically the winter. I mean, it's always basically the winter in Norway. I assume, never been there. But yeah, I can't play sports with a coat on. That's crazy. And if y'all don't know, winter in Norway is basically the ice age. I've been to Iceland. I've been to Poland. Poland is extremely cold. I'm assuming it's perhaps the same in Norway. Uh, Dello movie said Leon gave everybody working above the rim. Bro, I love that movie so much. Like, looking back on it now, it's completely insane to think that that movie existed, and that it was so popular. But at the time that it came out, it was one Tupac was in a different stratosphere of stardom. Like he was moving into superstardom, and everybody was just dope in that movie. And Leon really gave people that work. Dwayne Martin cannot ball, but it's another story for another day. But he looked like a baller in that movie. But Leon was just he was giving everybody that work. I love that movie. Dark movie one. I love one comment on my review for Civil War saying that you were support to leave with concerns and be worried. Boy, I'm from Norway. Civil War wouldn't affect me. You're right. You'll just be looking at it from a distance, laughing at us for being idiots. Um, let's see. We got Dark Movies. His number 10 is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Number 9 is The First Omen. I've heard such good things about that movie. I haven't seen it yet, though. It's on Hulu, and I will definitely check it out when I get a chance. Dello Movie says Love Lies Bleeding is fantastic. It for certain is. Dark Movies. I just lost this comment. What's going on? I don't know why this thing. I got to fix my setup so I'm not having these silly issues. Dark Movie said number 8, Society of Snow. 7, Furiosa. 6 is The Holdovers. 5 is Abigail. 4, Late Night with the Devil. 3, Monkey Man. 2, Fall Guy. And Doom Part 1 is number 1. I'm not mad at that list at all. Those are all great movies. I think the other only movie I haven't seen from your list, I haven't seen Society of Snow. So they made a movie about that same soccer team in the 90s called Alive. And I'm not a big fan of watching movies about people eating people. It's probably why I haven't watched Yellow Jackets on Showtime yet. Dark Movie says Love Lies Bleeding is at 13th and do not get the ending though. I don't think it was made for us to get. Like, I don't think Love Lies Bleeding was made for, I'm not saying it was not made for men, but I don't think it was made for men. And it's just my personal opinion. I get it, but at the same time, it was just wild. It went A24, it went full A24. Dark Moon said, I kind of hated the ending just because I was confused and I'm still confused. You know, you're still young. One day you might understand. I don't think you will because A24 leaves so much so much of their movies open for interpretation. They don't want to spoon feed you an ending. They give you what they give you and they let you determine what exactly happened. And yeah, things certainly happened. I'll tell you that much. Let's see. Dark Movies. Yeah, the fact that it was a Netflix movie is insane. Dylan Movies. Dark Movies. Society of Snow. And the Holdovers are great, but you have them in the 2023 list. Yeah, the Holdovers came out here right before Christmas. I watched it right after Christmas, and Society of Snow I still haven't seen. I didn't know that one came out in 2023. Dark Movie Society of Snow came out worldwide in January 2024. The Holdovers came out in January 2024 for me. It got pushed in Norway. I can see that. Same thing for Poor Things and Delo Movies. It's funny because they pushed that to January 2024, but it's definitely a Christmas movie that should probably be watched on Christmas. Let's see. We got sub movie reviews. Kiara, welcome in. Hey, y'all popping in. Thank you so much for popping in. I really appreciate that. You did not have to take any time out of your Saturday, but you did, and I really appreciate you coming in. And if you haven't subscribed to Subs Media Reviews, she does podcasts and she does YouTube videos in which it shows her recorded podcast. One, she has a wonderful voice and she has a unique take on a lot of the older movies. We're actually doing a movie review, a podcast review, I think next weekend on Love and Basketball. And I'm so looking forward to that because that movie is not aged well at all. That movie is aged probably as poorly as milk, and I can't wait to hear her take on Love and Basketball and how it holds up now. And everybody's just saying what's up to Sup. I think that name is really cool. Dello movies, fair enough. I think I was going with the awards that all nominated those movies for last year. Let's see. Dark Movie said, if y'all don't know, there's always some movie, Society of Snow, but English Called Alive. Yep, that's what I was talking about. Came out in 1993, starring Josh Hamilton, Bruce Ramsey, Vincent Spano, and Ethan Hawke. That movie, I probably watched maybe 15 minutes of that movie during the crash. It was like after the crash, and I was like, I can't finish this because I knew it was happening. Some media says, hey, y'all, again. Once again, thank you so much for stopping in.
Sup is the bomb.com.org.
I'm telling you, I was just talking about we're doing a review of Love and Basketball next weekend, and I can't wait.
Oh, y'all are?
Yes.
That sounds dope. That's awesome.
I'm looking forward to that so much.
They invite me nowhere. Sorry.
Well, no, I actually got in her DM and begged her. I was like, please, pretty please, let me work with you because I think her stuff is dope. And I'm old, so I know old school stuff, and I like to review it.
That's what's up. Yo, I love seeing people work together, man. That's awesome.
For sure. Let's see what we got here. That's fair enough. Just put it there because it came out for me that year. So I can't put in my 2023 list. He was talking about A Society of Snow, and he had the holdovers in his top 10.
Oh, yeah. Because it just came out for him, right?
Yeah, it came out for them in January.
That's a really
dark. It is. The woman who won the Oscar, her name is escaping me. That was such a great performance. Like she put on such a great performance.
Divine Randolph.
Yes, Joy Divine Randolph. Is that it?
Divine Joy Randolph.
You know what? We're butchering the name.
Yeah. I got the Googles.
We'll get it in the edit. Dark says, how are you? To Sub Media. Let's see, doing fine. Prepping for an upcoming review of Family Matters.
Nice.
Family Matters. What a time to be alive during TGIF. And Family Matters. And Urkel took over that show. And boy, what a unique show. Like that's all. That's what
he was not supposed to be a big. He was supposed to be. I think he was supposed to be on like 1 or 2 episodes, and then
1 or 2 episodes, and his character took off, and he literally became the show. That's insane. Wild. Family Man, great show, by the way. Carl Winslow, one of my favorites. Dark Movie said, I can't wait for that. Haven't seen Family Matters yet. I'm doing great. Saw Inside Out 2 a couple of hours ago. That was phenomenal. Going on live in 2 hours, and I'm high on energy drinks. Okay.
Be careful, young man.
Okay. Hey, man. You are young. You got to get your rest.
Yo, back in college, boy, I was like them monsters back to back. I was going crazy with the energy drinks and still would go to sleep. I don't know why they never worked on me. I would just drink them like juice. You know, a lot of times I'm surprised I'm still alive.
Thank goodness they didn't have that stuff when I was younger. Like I never heard of Monster until I was in the military, and by that actually probably won a few wars for us too. I miss
the Four Locals.
Pounding it.
I wish I was around during the Four Locals era.
No, you don't. No, no, you don't. No, you don't.
I was already bad enough off that stuff.
Jesus Christ.
I think it was Obama won the election. It was 2008. It was my freshman year of college. I was in the middle of a racist town in the middle of Pennsylvania called Bloomsburg, where my first couple of days on campus, there was a monster truck rally. And I love monster trucks when they used to come to Philly, and they said, listen, there's a monster truck rally. Do not leave the campus. I was like, what are you talking about? It's monster truck. What's wrong? the Klan. I was like, the Klan? Pardon me? So yeah. So that
The
was
Foot
oh,
Clan?
I went to a church. Went to a church the first Sunday I was on Bloomsburg's campus. Because I'm not making this up. It was me and this young lady who I was with at the time, who I was hanging out with. It was a freshman year. It was like first couple days there. Went to church. After church, we took communion, which was real wine. Little old white lady walks up to me. Hi, you're a Negro. I was like, yes, I am. I didn't know what to say. I was 18. I was like, I don't know what to do about this situation. I'm in the church full of white. I just walked into a church. I didn't know I was in the church where there would have been like, oh my God, it's a Negro. Like I didn't know I was in this. But yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry. I got stories for days on that type of stuff. But yeah.
Man, I'm gonna hit you with a story that's complete opposite of that a little bit later.
Okay.
Right after I get through these comments.
My bad.
Boy, I'm trying. Like once again, I scoff at people as they do live streams and they're like 30 minutes late on comments and they forget what the comment is about.
Yeah.
And here I am doing the exact same thing.
It's usually my fault because I always end up telling a story about something irrelevant.
Oh no, it's not you. Dylan Movie said, I love the Book of Clarence. I so love that movie. So much. Sup says, don't overdo it on the energy drinks. Please don't. Like your heart is not meant to take that.
We want you around, buddy.
Seriously. Church folks, mostly black, condemn Book of Clarence based on solely on the trailer and never watched the movie. You're 100% correct.
I remember my dad sent me a text. Make sure you don't go watch this movie. I was like, what are you talking about?
My mom is one of them. She refused to go watch it, and I think it will be fantastic. I still don't think she'd like it because she is heavy into the church. Dark Movie says his heart is pounding.
Sir,
bro,
cease and desist. Please don't drink another one.
I know you said this like 30 minutes ago. I hope you're still here.
Yeah.
Sub says, to be fair, the trailer is designed to draw the right audience. If religious folks were turned off by the trailer, it either is a failure on the part of the filmmaker or it's a good thing for viewers. Like I want to do more live streams, and one of my live streams for sure will be on marketing of movies. Like the marketing of some of these movies are terrible. Now, the Book of Clarence marketing got me to want to go see it because I was very intrigued on how they were going to tell that story, especially knowing how Black folks are with the church. Right? Like we're uniquely different when it comes to how we view Christianity, how we view our Jesus, and what is blasphemous and what's not blasphemous.
Yeah.
And this movie had piqued my interest because I'm not really big into church. So I really wanted to see how they were going to do it and if they were going to go too far. Honestly, I wanted to see if they would go too far. And to me, they didn't. Like I can speak for myself. I thought that it was very tastefully done. Nothing was overdone. Nothing made a mockery of Christianity. Nothing made a mockery of people believing what they believe in. I thought it was actually the opposite. I thought that it actually instilled a bit of more faith. Like it would strengthen your faith more than it would diminish your faith. Because of the character arc. Like what Clarence went through was just something. It like you have to watch it to understand it. It was so well done. It was so excellently executed for me. That I just thought it told a great story of one person finding his faith. And it also told me to believe what you believe. It doesn't have to be Christianity. It could have been anything. Like you just believe what you believe. This just so happened to be set during the time of Jesus.
Yep. And as a person, like I grew up in Christocentric theology where we were very deeply ingrained in exegetical versus eisegetical texts and where we pull from the Greek and the Hebrew and all this other stuff like that. Like that movie's not blasphemous. That movie does nothing to dissuade you from the personhood of Jesus, or does nothing where they show Jesus outside of the character that he's presented in the Bible in the New Testament. If anything, it just tells essentially a side story, right?
Yes.
This story is around. It's like telling a movie about, I don't know, like someone who was around when Martin Luther King was doing his speeches, but not about Martin Luther King, but he's in your view, like you could see him in the background kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, but this person is just doing his own thing. That's exactly how this movie is. And it never did anything to make a mockery of Jesus or anything like that. So I didn't find this movie to be blasphemous in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, that's just
for sure. My comments for that review,
I'm sure,
said otherwise, but I mean, and a lot of it was people who didn't see it. They just wanted to go into comments of reviews and just tell us, how bad it is, and they haven't seen it. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. I didn't. Sub says, thanks for all those compliments. Looking forward to the Love and Basketball review too. I'm really looking forward to that because I've watched that again. I'm gonna watch it again before we do the review. But I've watched it again. I want to say last year because that became like a thing on Twitter where everybody was talking about how toxic Love and Basketball was, and it's hilarious. Like looking back on it, it's so it still kind of holds up, but it's so ridiculous. Like,
yeah. Play me
but I
for
love
the
it.
part. No, like I paid for the wedding. We got catering. We got all this. No, I'm not paying. I'm not playing you for your heart. Anyway, but I actually watched that movie. I'm not gonna lie. I watched that movie for the first time in 2020. It was during the pandemic while I was watching all the movies that, like, I had a list. I didn't have a list, but I was going through a bunch of movies for each year of movies I had never seen before, and I just so happened to land on the year that came out. I was like, oh, this would be the perfect time to finally knock this off my bucket list because Black people take this movie very seriously. And during that time, I also watched The Last Dragon. So I knocked off a couple Black classics off my bucket list just to actually enjoy them both. So, yeah. Oh, not to mention, so it was The Last Dragon, Love and Basketball, Devil in a Blue Dress, and there was one other, the one where Denzel plays a saxophone. I forget what it's called.
Mo Better Blues.
Mo Better Blues. Watched all of them for the first time in 2020.
All great movies.
Yep.
All great. Have you seen Love Jones?
I'm pretty sure I have. I just don't remember it.
Oh my God, no! You would remember Love Jones. Love Jones. Lorenz Tate, Nia Long, had Bill Bellamy, had
no, because every time I see the poster, I'm like, I know I've seen that movie, but then I'm typing it in now. Yeah, I've seen this. I've seen this. I've seen the. I've heard the soundtrack.
Great soundtrack.
Yeah,
great soundtrack.
I don't remember a single moment of this movie. I just I'm looking at pictures of it and I just remember it.
I remember Lorenz Tate's hairline because it was atrocious in that movie. Like, bro, like if there's one thing movies don't like, most studios don't do is get a brother's hairline right.
Yeah.
Why? I don't understand. Black Power Ranger had the worst ever.
They had the Half Moon situation.
Oh my God.
That thing was crazy.
Bro, get a bar. Like, I know y'all got enough to get a barber on the set, man. Line that man up. Please. And like Lorenz Tate, now he got a clean line now that he's like 60 years old. But boy, back when he was young, man, you could. That man never had a lineup in any of his movies.
That's
but now he's on like Power. They finally hooked this joint up. Dell said, I love and Basketball. It is a classic.
It is.
Love that movie. Sub said we're definitely going to collaborate, Kenny. There you go. I'm just there for her to sing the intro. Like I have to be there when she records it. The intros be fire. Like at first, I'm not like the first time I listened to one of her podcasts, the intro, like I'm not gonna lie, most podcasts I just fast forward through and see
Mhm.
if something catches me. So
Yeah.
I started it and I was hearing the singing. I was like, this ain't her. This can't be like a person that I've heard speak in real life.
Hmm.
Like that can't be her singing. And then it
Yeah.
just kept going. I fast forwarded a little bit and I rewound it and I was like, oh, that's really okay. I
Yeah.
respect it.
I think I was listening to it was Holes, her video for Holes, and
Mhm.
like she had it was she's gonna be disrespectful. She was like, oh, my dog. She was just layering the vocal. I was like, yo, this is incredible.
Bro, like you sub, if you're still here, your voice, A1.
Sup is
Beautiful
what's up.
voice.
Yep.
Let's see. And Dello Movie said, according to survivors, Society of Snow is much more accurate than Alive. It's also not nearly as grisly as it sounds. So I did like when Alive came out, like a lot of people were saying that it was, it bastardized the story or something like that. Like it
Mhm.
made it, like you said, more grisly as it sounds. That's what turned me off from the movie. I was like, I don't want to, and I was young too. Alive came out in like the early 90s. I was still in high school. I think I was just starting high school at that time when
Mhm.
that came out, and I have no desire to watch people eat other people.
Yeah.
Just not
Yeah.
my thing.
I get it.
And the Society of Snow, same thing. I think that's like a miniseries though, right? Or is that
That's a
just a
movie.
movie?
It's a
Okay.
movie, and it feels long. It's good,
Yeah.
but they're in that cold for so long that you start to feel cold. It's a really interesting experience.
Touche. I don't. Oh man, my headphones about to die. So we about to wrap this up. Um, let's see. Sup says Monster Energy drinks winning wars is hilarious. Hey, it is a true statement. You got to be there to understand. Um, all right, my headphones just officially died. Give me 1 second because I
No
got a
problem.
backup here.
Nice.
All right, can you say something? Just make sure.
I'm here. I'm alive.
Oh, there
I'm
we
black.
go.
I'm proud. Okay.
All right. So I am. All right, we're definitely gonna finish this up. If you were drinking them that much, hold up. Yeah, there we go. If you're drinking them that much, Kenny, you didn't need to work because you built up an immunity. That is true. They didn't need to work because you built up immunity. Needed more and more to have any effect. That is such a fact. That's why caffeine
I
does nothing for me.
I drank monsters and went to sleep. Like it was crazy.
Della said, "Wait, Kenny, I've got like 20 years. I've got like 20 years, and I've never been called a Negro. Did you go back in time?"
I'm done as well, man. This small town, Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. It was the church was right on the corner of Main Street. There's only one major street, which is Main Street, and everything is on Main Street. I opened up my first bank account on that street in PNC. Like it was wild. And yeah, we were in there, took the real wine communion, which I was not used to. They used to have the little juice cups, and she was like, "Hi, you're a Negro." I was like, "Yes, I am." I didn't know what else to say. I had no idea what else to say. Yep, it's crazy.
And in the military, I've never heard anybody been called a Negro in the military, but I've heard people refer to black people as colored in the military. And that was
Oh,
wild.
it's
It
wild.
was like in a conversation, this dude was like, yeah, this colored girl, and everybody just stopped and was like, what?
What?
He was like colored, like she was colored. I was like, nobody says that ever anymore. He was
Yeah,
like, I didn't understand. I didn't know I said anything wrong. And it was just like, okay, okay, bro. To
no.
be fair, he was a young, not so smart human being. So
Okay.
he was corrected, never said it again, at least not in front of me or anybody I work with.
Well,
But
that's
it
good.
was hilarious. Uh, let's see. Dell says, you mean playing someone for their heart is not a viable romantic strategy? It is because I've done that before.
Wait, you
But
played
not
somebody for their heart?
other body parts. But let's talk about something else. let's let's move on. Not for their heart,
Okay.
but for You
Yep.
know. Sup says,
Wait,
watch
did
for
you
the
win?
first time. I didn't lose. So, no, I didn't lose.
Amen.
That's all I'll say.
Amen.
I didn't
Gotcha.
lose.
All right.
Sub said, watch for the first time or review Love Jones in February. I'm going to listen to that because I want to hear what you have to say about Love Jones. And you said you brought up Lorenz. I'm telling you, that hairline was terrible.
Yeah.
Like it.
I actually literally have it up on the other monitor. I'm just like looking at his hairline right now. It's wild.
Like, what is happening right now? Like, it wasn't even it was a half moon. It wasn't even lined up. Like, at no point did they shape it up. Like, no point did they trim it to where it wasn't like he didn't have no sharp edges. It was just
all uneven.
Yes. Wild. Bro, you get paid way too much money to not have a hairline. Like, come on. And then the last comment, Sub says, thanks for the compliments on my voice. I used to be insecure or so insecure about your singing. You should not be insecure about your voice. You shouldn't be insecure about anything. You are wonderful. You have an amazing singing voice. And I don't say that lightly. I don't say that to everybody. I don't know how to lie to people. Like, if you did, I probably would never even say anything about it. But like I've, yeah. Like, you have a wonderful singing voice.
100%.
And Dell says he was in the Army. Thank you for your service. 1, you heard colored. 2, you met people who never met a black person. So, oh my gosh, we had a guy we call Cornflake in basic training, which is wrong. Just as wrong as calling somebody colored, but we called him Cornflake because he was from Nebraska. He never met black people before. First time he saw anybody black was watching like a Tupac music video. Like, so just like there are black people who've never met white people before because they live in such either poor neighborhood or just like a tiny small town that they don't get out and white people don't come in. So and he was from like Iowa, something like that. This kid, no, he's from Nebraska. I'm sorry, I said that before, and we called him Cornflake. And he was fascinated that we were so similar. Like, I thought that was hilarious. Like, he was fascinated because he just knew black people from Yo MTV Raps or so like MTV, and he just assumed we were all Tupac. We thought we were all we really did. People in Germany said the same thing. Like, I met a lot of people in Germany who were like, man, we never interact. The first interactions or first that we saw of, and Tupac was always the common denominator. Everybody knew who Tupac was. Whether you're from here, whether you're overseas, everybody for some reason, well, not for some reason, he was, a musical icon.
Yeah.
Everybody knew who Tupac was. But I'm about to wrap this up. But I do want to tell this story because this is a story. You told a story about a white lady walking up to you calling you a Negro. When I was in New York, I recruited. I used to wear my uniform, my dress uniform, all the time around. And I was taking this kid to get a bank account. Like, before you join the Army, you got to have a bank account so you get paid. And in New York, anything can happen at any moment. Like, in that town, you said it was a racist town. In New York, right, you can get stabbed, you can get shot, you could get, somebody could just give you money. Like, who knows? Like, in New York, anything's possible. As you're walking, you just never know. So I took this kid to get a bank account. He was in the bank, and this is way before online banking. He's in the bank. He's taking care of all this paperwork to get a bank account open. And I go to a different bank because I banked at a different bank, and I was trying to pull out some money. And I'm standing in line. I'm in my full dress uniform, and this old lady just taps me on my shoulder. And I don't like New Yorkers. I don't like to talk to random people because 90% of the time they are crazy. Like 90% of the time they're insane. So I turn around, but I'm in uniform, so I have to, you have to present as a soldier, right? You have to interact with people because I'm also a recruiter. Her grandson might have wanted to join the Army. Who knows?
Yeah.
So I turn around and I say, hey, how you doing? And this lady she just hugs me, and she's eyes full of tears. And I'm like, oh my God, we got a crazy one. That's all I was thinking. I was like, oh no, like what's about to happen?
Mhm.
She's crying, she's hugging me, she's holding me tight, and she looks up at me and she says, "Thank you so much. You saved me. You saved me and my family. We were in an internment camp in Germany and blah blah blah." She goes on for like 5 minutes, and by the end of the conversation, I was crying. I was just like, man, and I just couldn't thank her enough. And that is my story because that is how
That's
humans are.
amazing.
You never know.
Yeah.
That was the reason why I stayed in the army actually, because somebody, somebody 50, however many years, 60, actually it's probably longer than that, about 80 years ago, went overseas and and like they saved her family. And I represented that because I was in my dress uniform. And yeah, I love, like, that's one of my favorite stories because it just doesn't happen every day. And
Yeah.
your story was the total opposite. But it just made me
That's
think
a
of
great
that old
story.
lady tapping me on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's awesome.
but yeah, I really appreciate you, Kenny, man, for coming through. Uh,
Absolutely.
definitely let everybody know where they can find you if they're watching the stream live or if they're watching on replay. How do I do this? There we go.
Hey. Hey, my name is Kenny Sparks. I am the creator of the Kenny Sparks YouTube channel where I do movie reviews, trailer reactions, as well as a Wednesday live stream where I talk about movie news, as well as review TV shows like The Acolyte. I'm not sure if I'll be reviewing The Boys or not. I have no idea. But this is a channel where I'm also starting to do rankings. Apparently, I just ranked all 4 Bad Boys movies, put on my Bad Boys 4 review, and my next 2 reviews will be Inside Out 2, and I actually reviewed Hitman, but never edited it, so it's been in the can for like a week. So I need to get that out, and so those will probably be my next 2 reviews. Thank you so much, T, for having me on. I appreciate you, and I'll talk to you guys next time.
There we go. All right. Thanks so much for joining. This went on a little bit longer than I expected, but that was only because we had such a great conversation, great
Yeah.
stories being told, great movies being reviewed. And yeah, definitely check out Kenny Sparks' channel. He definitely don't need my support because he's doing wonderful.
Nah.
But if you're subscribed to Have You Seen That with T channel, definitely go check out Kenny Sparks channel. Check out everybody who was in the live chat. Sup Media, Dell on Movies, Dark Movies, Jason Pallone. If I'm missing the Ace Avenue, so many people stopped in. I am 24, Brandon.
Hey, what's up, Brandon?
Definitely check out everybody's YouTube channel. I appreciate everybody for stopping through, and I will catch y'all next time.
Peace.
Peace.